Chapter 246. The sealed giant Jiao Jiu gritted his teeth and endured the reluctance in his heart. He tossed the talisman in his hand upwards, muttered a few phrases, then a red light flew out from his sleeve and disappeared into the talisman. In an instant, the talisman made a humming sound, struggled in the air, then a beam of yellow light lit up and the entire space shook. "What's this?" a man behind Jiu asked. Jiu didn't answer his companion as he stared deeply at the talisman that the yellow light was growing from in the sky. Lu Mu Yen felt an ancient and powerful aura coming from the talisman, even with a hint of pressure, as if something was about to break out of a cocoon. There was originally a dense layer of an intricate seal on the talisman, but now, after Ji's red light penetrated it, it gradually peeled off and the black runes became lighter and thinner, finally disappearing into the air as dust. Boom boom. Several thunderous sounds rung in the sky, and the originally bright sky was covered with dark clouds. A pressuring, fearful feeling instantly spread throughout the space. The expressions of Si Nan and the others changed. What is this thing? The aura emanating from this talisman actually made them feel a sense of death, and their hearts couldn't resist sinking. Even the people on Ji's side had a bad premonition. Jiu, what is this? Jiu also had an indescribable palpitation in his heart. He furrowed his brows as he said, "This is a high-level talisman my maternal grandfather gave me. It said that killing sword masters beneath Sword Venerable is not a problem." The companions behind him endured the fear and revealed joy in their eyes. If Ji's talisman could kill Si Nan and the others, then they wouldn't have to fight to death or be seriously injured. Although the number of people on the other side wasn't as much as theirs, but after only fighting for a while, more than half of the people on their side had already been injured or killed. Roar! A startling roar resounded throughout the sky, then a huge yellow gigantic thing broke the seal of the talisman and slipped out. Tier 9 Earth-type Jiao Dragon Soul, everyone be careful. Luo Yi immediately identified what was above his head and he hurriedly led everyone back a distance. That Jiao dragon had been sealed for countless years, and this time, having been freed from the talisman, it raised its head and happily roared a few times. The Jiao had 4 sharp claws beneath its body and 2 raised bumps on its head. It was possible that if he hadn't died back then and became a demonic spirit, then he would probably have already soared up and transformed into a dragon. Jiao dragon, a snake-like being with no horns but can evolve into a dragon eventually. Couldn't find a Jiao image with the same description XD. You are the one that let me out. The yellowish-brown giant Jiao squinted at Jiu below, scanning him with no evident emotions. Jiu didn't expect that a Tier 9 Jiao dragon demonic soul was actually sealed in the talisman. No wonder his paternal grandfather told him to use it carefully. It was indeed true that it could kill sword masters under Sword Venerable. It was indeed done by this junior. Ji's attitude was quite sincere. After all, although the other party was a soul that was freed from the talisman by him, but with its strength, it was only normal for him to address him as senior. The Jiao dragon shook its body, and a wicked look flashed across its eyes. Then it laughed loudly. "Good. Very good." Ji's heart was overjoyed, but he didn't reveal it on his face. Just as he was thinking about how to use the giant Jiao dragon to kill Lu Mu Yen and the others, an icy aura suddenly approached. As soon as he raised his head, he saw the huge head of the giant Jiao press downwards heavily. Just as he wanted to speak, the huge Jiao opposite suddenly opened its huge mouth and sucked him right in. It was only a few breaths of time from when the Jiao dragon spoke to when Jiu was sucked in, and no one could understand what was going on. Wasn't it Jiu who released this Jiao dragon? Why was the first person to be eaten actually Jiu? This was the truest portrayal of what everyone thought, including Lu Mu Yen. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Why, you actually dared to kill your owner. Half of Ji's body was swallowed by the giant Jiao, and his weak voice came from the Jiao's body. He couldn't understand and died without understanding. The Jiao dragon snorted coldly and swallowed Jiu in one gulp. You carry that stinky old man's aura, so you must be his bloodline. When he killed me and sealed me that year, I swore in my heart to destroy him and his descendants. Today, I will first use you as commemoration. You Ji's voice was so soft that it was no longer audible. He had probably already turned into the demonic soul's food. The faces of those together with Jiyu changed drastically and they fled in all directions without anyone's order. This Jiao dragon even killed its own owner, so it was even easier to kill them. Watching the constantly fleeing crowd, the Jiao dragon's eyes revealed slight contempt. This was how these humans were, timid and afraid of death, yet also insidious and cunning. He shook his entire Jiao body and sucked a few times in the direction of those that had escaped. The sword masters who were fleeing all landed in his mouth. Although the Jiao dragon was a demonic spirit, but it could devour human cultivators to replenish his true energy. After all, after being sealed for so long, his soul energy was also very weak. Mo Yen, what should we do? Lu Mu Yen looked at the Jiao dragon not far away with fear. This was a genuine Tier 9 demonic soul. Even if he was currently weak, they still weren't his opponents. Mo Yan's deep and serene eyes not only didn't show any worry, but instead, a gleam of sharp light flashed past. This Jiao dragon's demonic soul is a great nourishment. If he could devour it and refine it, his cultivation base would definitely recover a lot. Lu Mu Yen couldn't resist twitching the corners of her lips. A Tier 9 demonic soul must definitely be nourishing. But as nourishing as it was, one could only look at it. Unless one could actually catch it and eat it? Do you have a solution? Lu Mu Yen saw that his black eyes were bright, so she pressed her glossy lips together and asked. Mo Yen pondered for a moment, then said, "You lead him to a place where there's no one. I naturally have a way to deal with him." Lu Mu Yen still believed in Mo Yen very much. After seeing the Jiao dragon's demonic soul swallow Ji's group, it revealed an unsatisfied look as if wanting to continue, casting its gaze on them. Being stared at by a chilling gaze, Sinan and the others couldn't help but feel as if they weren't able to resist it. This was the gaze of a hunter staring at their prey, and everyone smiled bitterly inwardly. Who would have known that they were the ones hunting demonic beasts recently, only to become delicious food in the eyes of a demonic beast right now? The strength is barely enough for me to recover a layer of power. Unlucky. The Jiao dragon looked at Luo Yi and the others with disgust, as if he had already regarded them as food he was about to consume. Sinan and the others had deep creases on their foreheads. If you feel we're unlucky and disgusting, then don't eat us. Lu Mu Yen caught the heat in the Jiao dragon's eyes. Even if he disliked them, he would still not let them go. Let's go all out. Sinan also found the killing intent in the Jiao dragon's eyes. He endured his numb scalp and said to everyone, "Either he dies or we die, let's go all out." Luo Yi also thought so inwardly, "All right." The others also didn't want to die just like this, so they all took out their weapons and channeled their elemental energy into them, swinging towards the yellow-brown giant Jiao dragon in midair. Colorful sword lights gathered together to form a giant axe, combining the power of all the sword masters present, slashing down towards the Jiao dragon's head heavily. The Jiao dragon's eyes revealed a bit of playfulness and said in the human language, "Overrating your abilities." Then he raised his tail and swept heavily, and the mighty axe was actually easily defeated. Piu! Luo Yi, Sinan, and the other high-level sword monarchs were all blown back and vomited blood. In just one move from the giant Jiao, it had given them a deep lesson, which also indicated that their lives might not be guaranteed. They were not reconciled, but there was nothing they could do. What could they do when they were inferior in strength to the huge Jiao? Just when everyone was in despair, Lu Mu Yen took out a profound ice jade box from her interspatial ring, opened it and closed it to the Jiao dragon, then said provocatively, "Follow if you want it." After speaking, she turned around and flew towards the distant dense forest without looking back and disappeared instantly. The Jiao dragon's eyes revealed a trace of madness and greed. He roared, ignored Sinan and the others completely, and chased in Lu Mu Yan's direction. Lu Mu Yen led the giant Jiao's demonic spirit towards the depths of the forest. The figures of one human, one Jiao quickly disappeared in front of everyone. Yener! The streak of blood on Lu Mu Bei's lips deepened and he stood up in pain, chasing in that direction. Yi Qinghan's heart shook. He took out a pill to take and followed in Lu Mu Bei's footsteps. Mu Yen. He prayed that nothing bad would happen. Lu Mu Yen, that woman really has gone crazy. Luo Li was completely anxious. She, a weak woman, lured the evil dragon away to let us escape death, but she didn't even ask us if we wanted that. He disregarded his injuries, saying angrily, and also chased after them. When the others heard his words, they couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. Lu Mu Yen was a weak woman? Luo Li must have gone blind. Let's also follow. Luo Ye's injuries weren't as severe as the others, and Lu Mu Yan's actions just now shook him too deeply. Si Nan's handsome face was slightly pale, and his eyes were filled with complexity and were difficult to comprehend. Lu Mu Yen, that woman, actually sacrificed herself to save them. Could it be that she was so confident that she wouldn't be swallowed up by the evil Jiao? It was a lie to say that he wasn't shaken. Helian Lai wiped the blood from his mouth with his hand and spit out a mouthful of blood. Even though he was in a slightly sorry state, but he still had a dashing and amorous feel, and had an incomprehensible expression on his face. Lu Mu Yen, that woman, truly had gone crazy. But why did he feel warmth in his heart? Ling Feiyang and the others were also shocked by Lu Mu Yan's actions. Just why was she so foolish? Everyone currently had the same perception in their hearts. Lu Mu Yen, in order to save them, took the risk to lure the evil Jiao away. This behavior was stupid and crazy, but it made them unable to resist remembering her in their hearts at this moment. Lu Mu Yen didn't know that her actions had currently entered the hearts of those proud children of heaven, and that from now on, she would even be regarded by them as a close friend in life and death. She was currently desperately fleeing. Mo Yen, are we almost there? Lu Mu Yan's speed was at full force this time, and she used both her spiritual energy and flash steps, but the Jiao dragon behind them chased after them closely. Damned, his speed is too fast. Almost. Rush in this direction. Mo Yen looked back at the Jiao dragon who was about to catch up and said indifferently. Bingji rolled his eyes at him surreptitiously. Boss Missouri was going to kill them at this rate. Was a Tier 9 demonic beast so easy to mess with? Lu Mu Yen bit her lip, and while running she quickly formed seals. Her natal magic tool flew out of her body and stabbed towards the evil Jiao. Clang! As soon as the golden giant sword approached the Jiao dragon, it was knocked to the ground with a roar. Taking advantage of these few breaths of time, Lu Mu Yen accelerated to the limit of her body. When she saw a layer of white mist in the deep forest ahead of her, her eyes lit up and she headed in with a shoo. The natal magic tool that fell to the ground then turned into a stream of light and also flew into the white fog. The spirit of the Jiao dragon stopped in front of the white fog, gazing round and round at the white fog angrily. He just felt that there was something that he would be afraid of in the white fog, and it could even kill him. If he lost his demonic soul this time, then he'd really be finished. But when he thought of the soul-nourishing wood in the hands of that human woman, his heart couldn't calm. That was a divine-rank spiritual item, the soul-nourishing wood, which was exactly what he needed the most right now. If he obtained the soul-nourishing wood and attached his soul to it for nourishment, it wouldn't take long for him to recover to his peak phase Tier 9 strength. Afterwards, he could then find a Jiao dragon with good talent to seize its body and it would be perfect. Only those who took risks could obtain wealth. The Jiao's eyes revealed a ruthlessness and determination. He also entered the white fog. Center Castle. The elders of the 6 major sects took in all the previous scenes in their eyes, and they all revealed shock. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, she entered a Class 2 danger zone. An elder sweated. Only when seeing Lu Mu Yen, who was almost caught up by the evil Jiao, enter the Class 2 danger zone, did the hovering hearts of the elders relax. But after seeing that the Jiao dragon lingered for a bit, then also chased in, their hearts hovered again involuntarily. I hope that girl can escape this catastrophe. A kind-looking elder of the medicine sect said. The strong and sturdy elder of the 8 extremes sect sighed, this girl really is foolish. Although he said Lu Mu Yen was foolish, but the admiration in his eyes wasn't concealed. This girl had a very good character. If she remained alive, then he would definitely try to find a way to trick her into the sect. This girl is not afraid of danger, sacrifices herself to save others, has a good character, and has excelling talent. What a pity! The elder of the Spirit Tamers sect sighed and shook his head. Not to mention that this girl headed into a Class 2 danger zone rashly, but with also the Tier 9 demonic spirit rushing in, she would probably be in extreme danger. The other elders pitted as well, and even the wise elder of the heavenly secret palace had a trace of pity in his eyes. After entering the Class 2 danger zone, the array in the competition space won't be able to peek into it. Let everything depend on one's fate. While the several people sighed and pitted, no one noticed that the white-clothed man with excelling bearing sitting behind them had quietly disappeared in the central castle. Lu Mubai and the others chased towards the aura of the one human and one Jiao, but they lost their way when they reached the white fog. What's this? Yun Zmo knitted his brows tightly as he scrutinized the white fog in front of him. No matter what it is, let's go and then talk. Lu Mubai was anxious and walked into the white fog. Yun Lan and the others also didn't hesitate and followed him into the white fog. Luo Li and the others who arrived later knew that this was a Class 2 danger zone, but they also broke in without hesitation. But an astonishing thing happened. The group of people went around the white fog a few times and actually returned to the forest where they came from. Unwilling to accept it, Lu Mubai and the others went back in and circled around a few more times, but the result was still the same. Lord Luo, do you know why we can't enter? Lu Mubai turned to look at Luo Yi with a worried expression. Luo Yi was the strongest within their group of people, and also had the talent of divination, holding the richest knowledge. Luo Yi raised one hand and pinched his fingers to calculate. His knitted brows furrowed even deeper. After a long while did he sigh and say, "This white fog is the entrance to a Class 2 danger zone. It can block mental energy and elemental energy, and also has the power to confuse people. Without an opportunity, one can't enter. Big brother, can you predict whether she's alive or not?" Luo Li's eyes was filled with worry. Luo Yi thought about it, then asked, "Do any of you have Lu Mu Yan's token on you? I have a bracelet of Buddhist beads gifted by my younger cousin sister." Ling Fei Yang quickly took the Buddhist beads off his wrist and handed them over. The sorrow and worry in his eyes could not be concealed. Luo Yi took the Buddhist beads and spat a breath of essence, then his fingers pinched to calculate endlessly. After a while, he breathed a sigh of relief. She's still alive. Hearing Luo Yi's words, a glimmer of hope couldn't help but ignite within them. Lu Mu Yan, that crazy woman, definitely wouldn't die so easily. Lu Mu Yan, who broke into the Class 2 danger zone, didn't know that a group of people outside were worried about her safety. She was currently in a deep pond confronting the evil Jiao dragon demonic spirit who had caught up. "Human, hand over the soul-nourishing wood in your hands and I will spare your life." As soon as the Jiao dragon found Lu Mu Yan, he couldn't resist threatening. He just constantly felt that there was an aura that made him tremble and fear hidden in ambush, and so he just wanted to obtain the soul-nourishing wood and leave here. Lu Mu Yan didn't run away anymore. She turned her head and raised a slight arc on her lips. "What if I want?" Chapter 248. Danger arrives. What if I want? The evil Jiao was furious when he heard Lu Mu Yan's words. He had been imprisoned in that talisman for so many years and had long developed a strong resentment towards humans, only wanting to swallow them all down into his belly. "Humph, after I swallow you into my belly, I will naturally get the soul-nourishing wood." Lu Mu Yan raised an eyebrow. "It seems that you're not that stupid." In her sea of consciousness, she kept urging Mo Yan, "Hurry up, he's going to go crazy." As soon as Mo Yan reached the deep pond, he jumped off Lu Mu Yan's shoulder, and his figure kept dashing about everywhere. Lu Mu Yan felt his demonic energy fluctuate, but she didn't know what he was going to do. Done! With a flash, Mo Yan appeared behind the evil Jiao. Lu Mu Yan narrowed her eyes slightly and continued to provoke, "Swallow into your belly? You, a huge reptile, thinks you're worthy? You damned despicable human. I must tear you to pieces today." The evil Jiao's murderous aura rose. He hated those who said he was a huge reptile the most. The human who sealed him used to arrogantly call him a big reptile, so with the old and new grudges, hatred ignited instantly. Little owner, you've completely angered him, we're finished. Bing Ji had transformed into his true form of an ice luan at this time. Although he was a little afraid of death, but he didn't leave Lu Muyan's side. Lu Muyan saw the evil Jiao open his mouth and spray a cloud of yellowish-brown smoke at her. She immediately shut her senses and held her breath. Using flash steps, she quickly escaped from the range of the yellow smoke. With a wave of her long sword, a hurricane-like sword aura headed over sharply. The evil Jiao snorted coldly, and with a few claws he tore apart Lu Muyan's sword aura. At this moment, Mo Yen, who had been lurking behind the evil Jiao, suddenly grew countless times larger. The cluster of flame-like marks on his forehead appeared lifelike, then it actually separated from his forehead. The clusters of flames separated from Mo Yan's body and instantly enveloped the evil Jiao. Then they heard the puchi sound of burning. It's actually the netherworld flame. The evil Jiao's demonic spirit was scorched and shrunk into a small yellowish-brown ball of light, and couldn't resist begging for mercy. Don't burn me. Please forgive me, I'll do anything. The evil Jiao didn't think that after just escaping from the talisman, he would encounter a demonic beast who possessed the netherworld flame. This was basically the heavens wanting to destroy him. There were no ripples in Mo Yan's eyes, and he was extremely cold. You've done many evil deeds and harmed many humans and demonic beasts in your previous lifetime, and you are enveloped in resentment. Leaving you alive is the true root of disaster. Lu Muyan nodded in agreement. We can't let him go. This evil Jiao's demonic spirit carried a suffocating, bloody, sinister aura, which meant that he had slaughtered a lot before his death. Now he was even more resentful of humans, so if they let him go, he would surely cause great misery and suffering to part of this land. Listening to the shrill screams of the evil Jiao, Lu Muyan looked at the cyan-colored flame with a dim light that enveloped him. The netherworld flame represented the messenger of hell, a flame that could burn all souls, and was a divine rank flame that dealt with evil forces. Lu Muyan and Bing Ji were both surprised that the natal spirit flame in Mo Yen was actually the netherworld flame. No wonder he was so confident in dealing with the evil Jiao. Seeing that the yellow ball of light grew smaller and smaller, Mo Yen opened his mouth and sucked, and the ball of light was swallowed by him just like that. That evil Jiao was thinking about swallowing humans or demonic beasts all day, but probably didn't expect his demonic spirit to be swallowed by you. This is truly the cycle of the heavenly law and karma. Lu Muyan watched the cyan flame, together with the ball of light, being swallowed by Mo Yen and smiled lightly. So it turned out that the strongest natal talent of a spirit devourer was the netherworld flame, devouring all souls. It truly was strong. No wonder Mo Yen dragged his ass being pompous all day long. Lu Muyan now knew that he really had the capital to be so pompous. But she must say that she was very wise when she bought Mo Yen that time. She truly picked up a treasure. After Mo Yen swallowed the evil Jiao, a boundless power burst out from his Yaofu, while his gaze were light. I'm going to go into seclusion for a bit, be careful yourself. Because that soul energy was from a Tier 9 demonic beast, so its power was exceptionally strong. If he couldn't refine and absorb it in time, it would inevitably cause hidden dangers to his body. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Lu Muyan was also aware of this. Go into the spirit pet ring for seclusion. Mo Yen nodded, then turned into a black light and entered the spirit pet ring in Lu Muyan's hand. Lu Muyan looked around at her surroundings, and suddenly felt a chilling sense of crisis. As soon as Mo Yen entered the spirit pet ring, he fell into a state of deep sleep for cultivation. She instantly said to Bing Ji, "Let's get out of here quickly." Bing Ji also instinctively felt danger approaching, and after Lu Muyan leapt up onto his back, he flapped his wings and flew high up. Yet who knew a sudden change occurred? A water column with boundless pressure erupted from the bottom of the deep pond and sprayed straight onto Bing Ji's body. Although he was flexible, but he couldn't avoid it due to the gap between the cultivation bases. Poochie! Then another water column leapt up from in front of Bing Ji and spurted out. He was barely able to avoid it, but his entire body was affected by the energy of the water column. Not long later, another jet of water sprayed out from behind. Crack! Lu Muyen heard the sound of breaking bones from Bingji's body, and her eyes grew cold. She turned around and concentrated her entire Buddha's spiritual energy on her natal magic tool and slashed at the water column behind. 2/3 of the bones in Bingji's body were broken and he couldn't bear it and fell towards the deep pond. Before he fell unconscious, he used the last of his strength to toss Lu Muyen out of the range of the energy that enveloped the deep pond. He said weakly, "Owner, run quickly. You must live." Then he slammed into the deep pool heavily and was quickly dragged into the bottom of the pool by a force that spread from below. Lu Muyan's heart felt as if it was stabbed by something. This stinky, gaudy bird was so afraid of death, yet he actually disregarded his life and tossed her out of the shrouded range of that power. But how could she leave him behind? She and they were all companions in life and death. "I'm going to save Bingji. If you don't want to go, leave first." Mo Yen fell into a state of deep sleep due to the energy of the evil Jiao, so naturally it was impossible for him to leave. Her words were said to the human-eating blood thorn vine king and Miao Miao. She wouldn't force them to face danger together. Miao Miao will go wherever Owner goes. Owner lives, Miao Miao lives. Owner dies, Miao Miao dies. Miao Miao was wrapped around Lu Muyan's wrist, her voice tender and sweet, but extremely firm. The human-eating blood thorn vine king also turned into a wood bracelet and attached himself to Lu Muyan's other wrist. Shui is willing to follow Owner and share life and death. The fact that Owner could disregard her life to go save Bingji showed that she truly regarded them spirit pets as true companions. A powerful feeling rose in his heart. Such an owner was worthy of him to follow for eternity, depending on each other in life and death. Lu Muyen stood on the top of a high mountain and the warmth in her heart flowed little by little. All right, we're companions in life and in death. She believed that if Mo Yen was awake, he would definitely support her actions. She tapped her toes lightly, flew down from the top of the mountain, and plunged into the deep pond. But as soon as she fell into the pond, she was grabbed by an invisible force below and dragged into the bottom of the deep pond. When Lu Muyen was pulled into the deep pond, a peerlessly handsome, white-clothed man appeared at the edge of the pond. There was a devilish and icy arc raised on his lips. Whoever dared touch his woman, he would kill anyone. Without the slightest hesitation, the white-clothed man jumped into the pond and was also pulled to the bottom of the pond by that invisible force. Lu Muyen was dragged by that invisible force and fell to the bottom of the deep pond. When she fell to the bottom, she saw Bingji, who had fallen unconscious, lying on a large rock, with a few thick, purple-black tentacles wrapped around his body. Each of those tentacles had countless suckers and Bingji was currently a huge feast to be sucked and eaten. Lu Muyen exuded a coldness all over her body. She mobilized her natal magic tool to transform into a sword array and slash towards those purple-black tentacles. The natal magic tool refined from heavenly frost golden essence was indeed powerful, but at present, it was only equivalent to a middle-quality saint tool and had yet to evolve, so only 1/3 of the tentacles were cut off. Suddenly, the water at the bottom of the deep pond stirred violently and a pair of fierce white eyes opened from within the darkness. He hadn't been injured for many years, yet this despicable human dared to slash him with a sword. He waved a few idle tentacles incessantly, while the tentacles on Bingji's body weren't retrieved, but he stopped the action of preparing to absorb demonic essence. Lu Muyen narrowed her eyes, and a layer of purple-gold flames overflowed from her body. Groups of flames turned into lotus flowers and floated away, lightly landing on the 10 golden flying swords. The flying swords fused with the purple-gold spirit flame flickered with golden light, and it was enveloped in a layer light purple, appearing rather bewitching. 9 palaces sword art array begin. Lu Muyen formed seals incessantly, and when the last Taoist seal was formed, she shouted softly. The flying swords surrounding the monster instantly spun and formed the force of 9 palaces 1. The monster's eyes were larger than buckets, and the whites were a little terrifying. When he saw Lu Muyen's sword array, he was slightly surprised and he spoke the human language with a hoarse voice. Human, your sword array is pretty good, but it's a pity your cultivation base is too low, so what can you do to me? Wouldn't you know if you try? Lu Muyen sneered. The monster opposite was a peak phase tier 8 mutant octopus monster with rough skin and thick flesh, but the sword array that had added in the purple gold spirit flame could hurt him. Humph! The octopus monster snorted coldly, and a few thick tentacles emerged from below and grabbed at the 10 flying swords. Lu Muyan's eyes chilled slightly, shift forms and exchange positions. As soon as her words fell, the 10 flying swords were as if they came alive. Whenever the tentacles were about to catch them, they would flexibly avoid them, and instead the swords brushed past the tentacles in the opposite direction. Each golden sword carried a cluster of purple gold spirit flames, so each time the blades brushed past the tentacles, the purple gold spirit flame would jump onto and burn the tentacles. The octopus monster felt a piercing pain coming from the tentacles, and he looked at the 10 flying swords with fear. Purple gold spirit flame, you damned human, you actually have such a spirit flame. Who will die in the end is still unknown. Lu Muyen let out a laugh of ridicule, used flash steps, and swiftly avoided the tentacles the octopus waved over with boundless demonic energy. The octopus monster was huge and not as flexible as Lu Muyen and her flying swords. His eyes revealed that he was in deep thought, then his big white eyes closed. Lu Muyen suddenly felt a chill all over her body, her heart palpitations of fear kept coming, and she thought that it would be bad. She jumped away from a tentacle and suddenly saw a gap in the octopus monster's forehead that trembled, and a big eye stained with a bloody light opened instantly. Wang Wang! A formless sonic wave came from the large eye of the octopus monster. Although Lu Muyen prepared herself, wrapping her spiritual sense around the core of the Sea of Consciousnesses, but she was still affected and attacked. Her head ached as if it was about to crack open, and she couldn't resist squatting on the ground, holding her head with a trace of blood in her black eyes. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the most powerful mutated skill of an octopus monster was their mental energy attack. As soon as his third eye opened, as long as one's mental energy hadn't reached the level of a tier 9 demonic beast, they would be shocked into an idiot. Lu Muyan's Sea of Consciousness was as if it was being pierced by countless needles. She didn't underestimate the octopus monster, but she really didn't expect that his most powerful attack would be a mental attack. Currently, her mental energy was still in a dormant state. Although she wouldn't become an idiot if she was attacked, but she had already lost her combat power. And those traces of mental energy carrying red light was still rushing towards her Sea of Consciousness. She clenched her hands tightly to endure the pain that were as if tens of thousands of needles were piercing her brain. The desire to survive was unstoppable. She couldn't just die like this. Suddenly, a warm, glaze-like light in her Sea of Consciousness passed by like a spring breeze, and the sharp needles formed from red mental energy that stabbed her Sea of Consciousness was annihilated. A glazed ray of light violently whirled out from her Sea of Consciousness, and she also fell into a coma. Meow Meow and Shui kept slapping her wrist nervously and telepathically called out to her, hoping that little owner would wake up. But Lu Muyan's long and dense black eyelashes were tightly closed, her face was peaceful, her body curled up, and layers of flame, filament-like things wrapped around her. The octopus monster didn't expect that his mental energy attack would fail. Looking at the sleeping woman who appeared as if she was wrapped in a silkworm chrysalis, he had a bad premonition. He hurriedly stretched out more than half of his thick purple-black tentacles, gathered demonic energy, and whipped over, wanting to penetrate her body. But as soon as the tentacles with demonic energy touched the glazed chrysalis, they were dissolved by an invisible force, and the chrysalis tightly adhered to his tentacles, beginning to frantically suck his demonic energy like a bottomless pit. He was instantly shocked and slapped the glazed chrysalis hard, attempting to break free. Suddenly, a pure golden dazzling light swept down from above heavily, and his tentacles that were wrapped around Lu Muyen were completely cut off. The octopus monster screamed in pain, "Who dares sneak attack me?" Then he saw a white-clothed man with an outstanding figure and handsome, otherworldly appearance appear beside the chrysalis that the woman had turned into. "You deserve death." The man's voice was filled with endless chills. The icy coldness in the man's eyes appeared as if it would solidify this deep pond into ice, and he did just that. He held Lu Mu Yen in his arms, and the golden longsword in his hand instantly turned dark blue. When his elemental energy was channeled in, the blue sword turned into countless blue starlights, covering the entire deep pond. The octopus monster found that he actually couldn't feel the other party's cultivation base, and an aura of death enveloped him. He quickly retracted his tentacles that were on the ice Luan's body, turned around and swam towards a black hole in the depths of the pond, his speed astonishing. "Go die!" The white-clothed man had a calm expression as he lightly clenched his palm in the direction of where the octopus monster escaped. The water in the deep pond actually solidified into frost at an astonishing speed, and the octopus monster slammed into the frozen cave with a thing. He turned his head and looked at the white-clothed man in horror. Just when he prepared to self-destruct some of his tentacles to escape, he suddenly found that all the water in this space had turned into ice. He looked down at his body in disbelief and watched himself become an ice sculpture with his very own eyes. Miao Miao and Shui couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. They shrank their necks and leaned against Lu Mu Yan's wrist. The white-clothed man looked down at the woman, who was wrapped in layers of glazed chrysalis, in his arms, and the coldness in his eyes dissipated, turning into a pool of warmth. "Thankfully she's fine." Immediately he rolled up Bing Ji on the ground and the frozen octopus monster, and with a thought, disappeared from the deep pond with Lu Mu Yen in his arms. 250. Awaken. After Lu Mu Yen fell into a coma, she felt that she was surrounded by a layer of warm light, gentle and soft, which made her not want to wake up immediately. The mental energy that was originally dormant in her sea of consciousness overflowed little by little, turning into glaze-like specks of light scattered in her sea of consciousness. The mental energy of her sea of consciousnesses that was originally about to be exhausted became active in an instant, and the waves formed from mental energy constantly slammed and tumbled happily. After a while, the area of her sea of consciousness gradually expanded and finally stopped when it more than doubled. After the white-clothed man brought Lu Mu Yen out of the deep pond, he carried her to a clean, flat surface. Then, after the layer of glazed chrysalis gradually faded away, he pressed his thin lips together and reached out to remove her clothes. He took out his own red robe from his interspatial ring without any impure thoughts as much as possible and clothed her. His hand caressed her delicate and alluring face, his eyes dyed with a delightful love, and his palms instantly dried her wet hair with a trace of fire elemental energy. He held her in his arms and kissed her forehead. Looking down at the ice bangle she was wearing, there was a smile in his eyes. With a thought, he cut off the connection between himself and the ice bangle. "Woman, no matter when, you can only be mine." He leaned down close to her and whispered in her ear. When he discovered that the mental energy in Lu Mu Yan's sea of consciousness was constantly changing, a charming arc rose on the man's lips. Suddenly, a bird with orange feathers flew over from a distance and landed on the man's head. "Owner, if you don't go back soon, your substitute will be discovered." The man kissed Lu Mu Yan's forehead with sentiment, and his voice was filled with deep affection. "Woman, we will meet again soon. Take care." After he finished speaking, with a wave of his hand, a circle of light formed from ice-covered Lu Mu Yen. The little orange bird looked down at the stunning beauty with her eyes closed on the ground and couldn't resist revealing slight curiosity in his eyes. So this was the woman owner constantly thought of and longed for. Indeed a beauty. The man stood up and patted his white clothes, then took a step and disappeared in the forest with the orange bird. In the central castle, the elders of the 6 major sects were observing some people who performed well in this competition, discussing from time to time. After the white-clothed man returned to the room, the man who had been sitting in the last row with his eyes closed suddenly opened his eyes. This move was not even noticed by the wise, white-clothed elderly man from the heavenly secret palace. A day later, when the mental energy ocean in her sea of consciousness stabilized, Lu Mu Yen gradually opened her eyes. What entered her eyes was a cover made from a layer of ice emitting blue light, protecting her. After sensing that she was awake, The blue light instantly turned into countless blue sparkles and disappeared in front of her eyes. She sat up and rubbed her brows. When she looked down, she saw that she was wearing a man's red robe and her heart couldn't help but be shaken. When she was sleeping earlier, she felt as if she heard a nice, magnetic, and clear male voice speaking by her ear. It seemed like it wasn't a hallucination. Reaching out, she tied her hair with a ribbon casually, then raised her hand and sniffed the red clothes on her body. Ming Xiao, she whispered with inexplicable emotions. Could it be that Ming Xiao was also a person from a large kingdom who was participating in this competition? But with his relationship with the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, that shouldn't be the case. Owner, you finally woke up. Meow Meow's excited voice entered her ears while she was thinking. She reached out and rubbed Meow Meow's head. Then she looked at the octopus monster that had been frozen into an ice sculpture not far away and asked, "Just what's going on? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Meow Meow wrapped around her wrist and rubbed it affectionately, saying sweetly and tenderly, "Earlier, Owner was affected by the mental energy attack of the octopus monster and fell into a deep sleep." Then, Lu Mu Yen furrowed her brows slightly after listening to Meow Meow's recount on what happened after she fell into a coma. "Are you sure that person was wearing white clothes?" That man not only dressed in white, but also looked like a fallen immortal." Meow Meow's eyes sparkled with stars. "But I just feel like he has a familiar scent, but I'm sure I've never seen him before." Lu Mu Yan's brows relaxed. Meow Meow had been in contact with Ming Xiao when she was still in her Jiao egg, so it was normal for her to be familiar with the scent on his body. But why did that devilish man wear white clothes now? And he exuded a warm temperament as if a fallen immortal? Was that even possible? Shui Shui also popped his head out and said, "Owner, that man is so strong. He only used his elemental energy, and it froze the entire deep pond into ice. That Tier 8 octopus monster was also killed by him in one round." Speaking of this, he still had some lingering fears. It was truly fortunate that the man was Owner's friend. Lu Mu Yen nodded. He has always been very strong. Then she added in her heart that that devilish man was also very mysterious. She got up and changed the red clothes on her into her own clothes. She thought about it and still placed the red clothes into her interspatial ring. Then she walked to the comatose Bing Ji, took out a bottle of pills overflowing with medicinal fragrance, and poured it into him. A layer of green mist covered her hands and she placed them on Bing Ji to repair his broken bones. About 2 hours later, Lu Mu Yen withdrew her hands and sat on the ground to recover. This time, it could be considered a blessing in disguise. The mental energy she wanted to awaken by borrowing the soul-nourishing wood was woken more than half a year early, and her sea of consciousness even expanded by double. Her mental energy now probably also exceeded that of a sovereign sword master. Suddenly, a chill came from her wrist. At this moment, she could actually clearly feel the connection with the ice bangle on her hand. The invisible outsider's aura that had been hidden within had disappeared. The ice bangle expressed a kind of joy as if it liked her very much, and there was also some information about the ice bangle that appeared in her sea of consciousness. Dragon and phoenix bangle birthed together from the earth 10,000 years ago. The bangles are made of divine rank spiritual items. They are the most valuable treasures in the world, with 2 of them, split into 1 dragon, 1 phoenix, worn by a male and female owner who are in harmony with each other. Lu Mu Yen gently caressed the ice blue bangle on her wrist, and the talents it possessed was also transmitted into her sea of consciousness. Divine phoenix bangle? A playful smile appeared on her lips, so it could really heal injuries, expel toxins, and speed up the growth of spiritual herbs. It's indeed a treasure. A tall and sturdy, red-clothed figure couldn't help but be reflected in her mind. "Ming Xiao, where are you?" Bing Ji slowly opened his eyes and looked at Lu Mu Yen in pleasant surprise. "Owner, we're still alive." Lu Mu Yen said with a smile, "Don't worry, we won't die." "Humph, in order to save you, Owner jumped into that deep pond and was seriously injured. You stinky bird is an idiot." Meow Meow stretched out her little head and glared at Bing Ji. Bing Ji's eyes were filled with emotion. He was just wondering why he was still alive, and the broken bones in his body were not only connected, but also increased its strength. So owner saved him. Owner, Bingji likes you so much. After speaking, he turned into a 7-colored parrot and jumped onto Lu Muyan's shoulder and rubbed her arm. He actually wanted to rub owner's face and neck, but when he remembered that handsome, red-clothed man and Mo Yan's cold look, he didn't dare. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him speechlessly. You quiet up for me. Bingji looked at her with an aggrieved expression but didn't say any more and stood on her shoulders to begin recovering and cultivating. Lu Muyan stood up and put away the octopus monster on the ground. She looked at the pond water that had been frozen into thick ice with pity and didn't have any more interest in exploring the octopus monster's cave. After her mental energy recovered, she could roughly detect the situation in the deep pond and there wasn't any spiritual herbs or spiritual stones that she needed. It was just that she felt that it was a bit strange for a Tier 8 octopus monster to live in this deep pond. Remembering that Lu Mubai and the others were probably worried about her safety, she had no heart to stay any longer either. She flew out of the mountain atop her golden longsword. Chapter 251. Preliminary round ends outside the mist-shrouded mountain forest. Lu Mubai and the others paced back and forth, feeling uneasy. It's been 2 days already. I wonder how Lu Muyan is? Xinan was very anxious. His worry for Lu Muyan's safety wasn't only because he was interested in her, but also because she could save his concubine mother. Luo Li's sunny and handsome face revealed a bit of decadence. He asked Luo Yi nervously, "Elder brother, is she still alive?" A day ago, his elder brother predicted that Lu Muyan's aura had disappeared, and her life and death was uncertain, making their hearts sink to the bottom. Luo Yi took out the string of Buddhist beasts and calculated again. His furrowed brows relaxed a lot. She's still alive and her aura is stronger than before entering the forest in the beginning. I think she has encountered a fortuitous opportunity. Only after hearing him say that did their hearts also fall back in place. Yi Qinghan had been standing in front of the thick fog, constantly watching the movements in the forest. She'll be fine. Ling Feiyang sighed and patted Yi Qinghan's shoulder. He knew that Yi Qinghan had a deep affection for Lu Muyan, but he couldn't see that affection in his younger cousin sister's eyes. There was only concern for a best friend. Yi Qinghan rubbed his brows with a weary look. She'll definitely be fine. Qi Yishen's eyes were dim and there was an endless dejectedness. There was a voice in him that told him that Lu Muyan wouldn't die, but the gap between them was only getting larger and larger. She was surrounded by many of the younger generation's favored children of heaven, and he had faded out of her life already. He felt extremely remorseful. Why couldn't he cherish her in the first place? It was too late to find out her goodness, her preciousness, after she had already been lost. Suddenly, a golden light burst out from the thick fog, and everyone looked up and saw Lu Muyan flying over on her sword. Muyan, Yener, Lu Muyan. Yi Qinghan and the others shouted in unison. Lu Muyan guided the sword to land on the ground. You're all here. Seeing the haggard look on Lu Mubei's handsome and refined face, she felt a little sorry. She went up and hugged his arm, saying with an intimate smile, "Elder brother." Lu Mubei's originally tense face softened a bit, and he sighed helplessly, tapping the tip of her nose. "You, always making people not worry enough about you. Don't be reckless in the future, do you hear?" He then warned with a rare seriousness on his face. Lu Muyan rubbed his arm with her face. "You'll listen to anything elder brother says." Luo Li and the others saw Lu Muyan reveal such a little girl attitude for the first time, and they looked at her curiously, then couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. She was better being more violent. If Lu Muyan knew the thoughts of the several people, she would definitely toss them the few words, "You're seeking a beating. Muyan, are you all right? That evil Jiao chased you into the forest, we went in to find you, but each time, we walked back to the same place." Yi Qinghan's handsome face was filled with concern. Lu Muyan's eyes were stained with warmth. "The evil Jiao is already dead. I was injured a little, but I've recovered now." "You killed that evil Jiao demonic spirit? Helian Lai discovered that the more he hung with Lu Muyen, the less he could see through her. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Do you think that's possible? I'm only at Sword Monarch Cultivation Base, he has the strength of a Sword Venerable. Although the evil Jiao's demonic spirit was Tier 9, equivalent to a Sword Saint Cultivation Base in human sword masters, but because it had been sealed in a talisman for so many years, and was only a demonic soul, its strength was only at Tier 8. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I think it's possible. Helian Lai smiled shyly. He really almost thought that the demonic spirit was killed by Lu Muyen. After hearing her say that, he couldn't help but feel relieved, otherwise, compared to her, they would really have too large of a gap. You really look too highly on me. Lu Muyen smiled. After the evil Jiao entered, it met an octopus monster at peak phase Tier 8. They wanted to devour each other, and eventually both lost, so I picked up a bargain. It was naturally impossible for her to tell the others that the evil Jiao dragon was devoured and refined by Mo Yan's netherworld flame. If the evil Jiao wasn't in the state of a soul, then the current Mo Yan couldn't do anything about him either. You're so lucky. Helian Lai couldn't resist laughing. He discovered that Lu Muyan's luck was really much better than theirs, and coupled with her excelling heaven-defying talent, she was really heaven's favorite. Luck is also a part of strength. Luoli said. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, You have all been guarding here? How about the preliminary round? After she finished speaking, she took out her identity jade tablet for a look. Her ranking had dropped below the top 10 again. How can we be in the mood to earn points when we don't know whether you're alive or dead? Luoli glared at her. This heartless woman, she was still thinking about points. Then now that I'm out, we're naturally going to go earn points. You all rest for a few hours, then we'll set off when it gets dark. She definitely wanted to enter the top 10 of the preliminary race. No one refuted her opinion. Now that she was safe, their passion for points was rekindled. All right. In the central castle, the elders of the 6 major sects were relieved when they saw Lu Muyen coming out of the Class 2 danger zone alive, and they were even more determined to dig her over to their sect. In the last few days of the preliminary round, although Mo Yan fell into a deep sleep state, but Lu Muyan's mental energy had already recovered, so she led the several teams of people to hunt at night and killed many groups of beasts. The points continued to skyrocket, and finally, when her point ranking reached 3rd place, the melodious bell rang at the end of the preliminary round. The top 1,500 participants in the continental tournament for hegemony must gather in the central city within 3 days to continue the next round of the competition. Those who exceed the time limit will be automatically deemed to have given up the competition and will be sent out of the competition space. Remember, not long after the end bell rang, such a message was transmitted to each of their identity jade tablets. We're only a day away from the central city, so let's rush over now. Luo Yi put away the jade token in his hand and said lightly. Luo Li took out the jade token, looked at it and said, Lu Muyen, my elder brother, Sinan and I are ranked 3rd to 6th respectively, but Yen Jun, that guy, actually advanced to 2nd place, and the 1st place is a person I've never even heard of. It's normal for Yen Jun to advance to the 2nd place. The person named Chu Han who took 1st place comes from a medium-sized kingdom and we've never heard of his name before either. It seems to be another dark horse. Sinan pondered, then said. Helian Lai sighed. There are so many dark horses this year, how can we, the elite teams of veteran large kingdoms, live? His ranking was 9th and this achievement actually exceeded his expectations. If he hadn't followed Lu Muyen to hunt beast tides, he would probably have been ranked lower than 30th. And among the top 10, besides Lu Muyen and the person named Chu Han, the person at 10th place was also an unknown small kingdom swordmaster. Many unfamiliar names also appeared in the top 50, which gave him a lot of pressure. Come on, what's there to be dissatisfied with when you've already advanced into the top 10? Ji Xian and the others are still behind you. Luo Li raised an eyebrow and said. After hearing Luo Li's words, a proud smile rose on Helian Lai's face. That's true, no matter what. Your elder brother I also crushed Ji Xian and the others. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. No ambition? She was very satisfied with third place. With that person named Chu Han as the one who stood out, she believed that in the second round, it would save her a lot of trouble. Chapter 252. The semi-final begins the next day. Lu Mu Yen and the others arrived at the central city smoothly. After entering the city, the surrounding streets were bustling with people coming and going, exceptionally lively, especially since the sword masters who were staying in the central city were all those who could participate in the second round of the competition, so they were naturally very joyful and most of them had smiles on their faces. The difference between the central city and the other cities was that the inns wouldn't give special treatment to contestants from superpower kingdoms or large kingdoms. After all, those sword masters who could enter the second round of the competition were considered to be the best among the younger generation of this continent. If they treated people unequally, then it would probably cause discontent. Lu Mu Yen and her party found an inn with an elegant and quiet environment near the border of the city to stay in. If it were up to Si Nan and Helian Lai who liked luxury, they definitely wouldn't agree. But seeing that Lu Mu Yen had set her mind on this inn, they could only reluctantly agree, though in the end, they also booked more than half of the courtyard. After Lu Mu Yen entered the inn, she went directly to her room and arranged an array. Owner, are you going to dig out the crystal core of that octopus monster? Bing Ji asked as soon as Lu Mu Yen finished setting up the array, rubbing against her shoulder, fawning over her. Lu Mu Yen knew that he had been thinking about that demonic beast's crystal core for a long time, so she took out the octopus monster's corpse in amusement. The ice on it had not yet thawed. She casually tossed a cluster of purple gold spirit flame down, and the ice on the octopus monster slowly melted. She looked at the pool of water formed from the ice on the ground. Just what cultivation base did Ming Xiu achieve? This kind of elemental energy condensation into ice wasn't something that ordinary sword sovereign powerhouses could do. Seeing the look on Bing Ji, gazing until his eyes were strained, she couldn't help but smile. She stretched out her hand, took the crystal core from next to the octopus monster's heart and tossed it to him directly. Take it to refine. Bing Ji held the crystal core in his beak, and his eyes were touched with emotion. Little owner disregarded her own life to go into the deep pond to save him, and now even gave him such a precious crystal core. Originally, Bing Ji thought of going free and unrestrained after breaking the seal, but now he suddenly made up his mind to follow Lu Mu Yen well in the future. Following such a mysterious and powerful owner meant having a great future, and most importantly, little owner was too generous. Owner, Meow Meow is hungry. Meow Meow looked at the crystal core of the Tier 8 demonic beast in Bing Ji's beak with a bit of envy, but not negative jealousy. Whatever owner did, it was right. Lu Mu Yen rubbed her head intimately, took out a few Tier 6 demonic beasts' crystal cores and put them in her hand for her to swallow. It's not suitable for you and Xue Xue's strength to eat high-level crystal cores. Wait until you both advance to a Tier 7 demonic beast. They'll go get some Tier 7 and 8 crystal cores for you two to refine. Meow Meow loves owner the most. The little white snake swallowed a crystal core, then rubbed against Lu Mu Yen. The crystal cores weren't as attractive to the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Ever since last time, he had transformed into a wood bracelet and hung on Lu Mu Yan's wrist. Owner, get some more high-level sword master's blood for me in the future and I'll be fine. In the competition space, he absorbed a lot of fresh blood of high-level demonic beasts and already felt the barrier of advancing. If he could suck and consume some sword master's blood, he believed that he would soon be able to break through. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him and warned, "Don't always think about drinking human blood. Unless they're an extremely wicked and evil person or my enemy, you're not allowed to go randomly suck human blood, otherwise it'll definitely throw you out into the desert to accompany cacti." Xue's body froze and he deflated in decadence. As per your order. Little owner's words always counted. He definitely didn't want to go to some desert area where birds don't even lay eggs to accompany cacti. Although he preferred fresh blood, but it wasn't bad to have crystal cores to refine, so the few spirit pets went to refine the demonic beast's crystal cores with a peace of mind. There was a smile in Lu Mu Yan's eyes. After taking these spirit pets, life sure wasn't so boring anymore. Early the next morning, the people from the pill tower delivered the spiritual herbs she needed to the inn. The efficiency was very high, and she was also very satisfied. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, she remembered some information from the Phoenix Bangle previously, so she took out a 100-year-old spiritual herb and placed it in a profound icebox. With a thought, a green fog of spiritual energy flowed from her palm and poured into the box, then she sealed it. If she was successful in accelerating this herb's growth, then she'd make a huge profit and would basically not need to worry about having highly aged spiritual herbs in the future. Compared to crystal cores, the few spirit pets preferred to eat pills more, but the pills she refined had practically all been consumed in the previous beast-tide battles. This time, having replenished her spiritual herbs, she spent 2 days refining pills. After another day passed, there were constant knocks outside her door. She put the last pill in a bottle and opened the door, seeing Luo Li's bright and sunny handsome face. "Are you refining pills?" Luo Li smelled the scent of pills as soon as he walked to the door. Lu Mu Yen nodded. "The previous pills are all used up, so I need to refine some for spares." The corner of Luo Li's lips twitched when he remembered that she swallowed pills like eating candy each time. Then he remembered the formal business and said with a smile, "Let's go to the central square." "Why go to the central square? You didn't receive the news from the jade tablet?" Luo Li asked in surprise. He came to knock on the door because he saw that Lu Mu Yen hadn't appeared, but he didn't expect that she didn't know about it. Lu Mu Yen didn't pay attention because she was refining pills before, so now that she took out the jade tablet, she found out that the organizers of the competition notified them that in another hour, they should gather in the central square where they'll announce the next round of the competition. "Let's go." When their group of people arrived at the central square, it was already filled with people, and it was very lively. Lu Mu Yen and the others found a remote corner and stood there. She looked around and found many powerful groups. The elite teams of superpower kingdoms were generally not just one group. Just like for Luo Yi and Sinan's kingdoms, there were 2 other teams from their kingdoms and their strength wasn't bad either. As soon as the time on the notification arrived, a loud voice sounded in the central square. "You are all sword masters from various kingdoms who have passed the preliminary round of this time's continental tournament for hegemony. First, congratulations." As soon as his voice fell, everyone saw a middle-aged man in white appear in midair, and he continued with a faint smile. "But don't be arrogant, because the next 2 rounds are the key to whether you would be able to stand out. The top 10 in the first round will be rewarded with jade tablets. The information will be sent to the identity jade tablets of the 10 people later, which will be redeemed at the end of the second round. The second round of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, which is the semi-final, will officially start tomorrow and last for 5 months. During these 5 months, you can use the ample spiritual force in this space to cultivate and raise your strength, or you can directly go snatch identity jade tablets. After 5 months, the identity jade tablet will remind you of the end date, and by then, the top 500 who have the most of all 7 colors of identity jade tablets will enter the final round. Of course, what I'm talking about isn't just quantity, but also quality. The person with the most cyan, orange, and purple jade tablets would naturally rank high in the second round. As usual, the point system is used, and the rules of the entire competition will be passed through the array into your identity jade tablets. By the way, a reminder, those who advance into the top 10 of the rankings in the semifinals will still have rewards, and they're very generous rewards that will be distributed to you later. I won't say more. I wish you all good results. We will meet again in 5 months. After the middle-aged, white-clothed man finished speaking, he turned around and disappeared from the central square, and the originally quiet square also exploded into chatter in an instant. I decided to upload 2 a day again simply because I personally can't wait to reach the part where LMY and MX interact more, so I want to hurry up and get to those chapters and translate them. I love the pair too much, huh? Don't know how long the 2 chapter a day will last, and it could be irregular, but definitely still expect at least 1 chapter a day. Chapter 253. Act separately. After returning to the inn, the identity jade tablets of Lu Mu Yen and the others flashed repeatedly, and the competition organizers sent the information one after another through the array. The semifinals this time actually takes 5 months. It seems that we have to improve our strength as soon as possible, Helian Lai said while looking at his jade tablet. After coming into the competition space, in addition to the possibility of being selected by the 6 major sects and winning glory for their empire, there was also one great advantage. The spiritual force here was very abundant, and here was rich in resources. The speed of cultivation in this space was basically twice as fast as outside, so in each competition, there would be a period of time left for sword masters of various kingdoms to cultivate and improve their strength. Who knew that entering the top 10 would be rewarded with purple jade tablets? Not bad. Luo Li flipped through the information and said. Lu Mu Yen set her sights on the awards for the top 10 in the rankings of the semifinals. Unexpectedly, they were all spiritual items of heaven and earth. The power of the organizers of this competition sure were really strong. For the rewards for the top 10, I can only go all out, she said with a smile and put the jade tablet away. Hearing her ambition, the other people's eyelids couldn't help but jump. The second round of the competition wasn't to kill demonic beasts, something that could be easily accomplished by finding beast tides at nighttime. They had to face more than 1,000 geniuses from the younger generation. You're thinking about entering the top 10 again? The top 10 in the semifinals isn't so easy to get into. Helian Lai shrugged. His goal was to advance into the top 50. Lu Mu Yen glanced at him, not promising. Only by daring to think can you dare to do. If you don't even dare to think about it, you might as well just give up directly. The rewards for the top 10 included 2 types of spiritual items that Mo Yen and Xue needed to increase their strength. She must obtain it. Hearing her calm tone saying bold words, the expressions of the others changed, especially Helian Lai. There was an unpleasant feeling in his heart. Lu Mu Yen even dared to think it? Why didn't he dare? So this was the largest gap between them? Shameless bastard. How about we compare who could advance into the top 10 in the semifinals? Last time, he was only ranked 6th because Si Nan did him dirty. This time, he must get back at him. Si Nan's expression was calm, and he raised an eyebrow slovenly. Sure, you think he'll be afraid of you? The two attacked each other again, and Luo Yi interrupted with a light cough. Are we still going to act together in the semifinals? He was certain that if so many of them set off together, the other teams would definitely run away when they saw them, and they wouldn't be able to snatch many jade tablets at all. What he thought of, the others also thought of, but it was difficult for them to voice it. After all, the ones that would drag them back would mainly be Lu Mu Yen and Yi Qinghan's teams. Of course, they didn't mean that they disliked them. If Lu Mu Yen still wanted to act together, they wouldn't object either. Lu Mu Yen could guess their thoughts and conflicted emotions. She smiled lightly and said, let's act separately. 1, we can let the enemy relax their vigilance, and 2, we don't have to worry about being unable to divide the snatched jade tablets because there are too many people. Then how should we split up? Luo Li asked. He and Si Nan actually didn't want to be separated from Lu Mu Yen, but judging from the current situation, it seemed that they couldn't not separate. Well, be with my elder cousin brother and his group, and it would be best for you 4 groups to separate individually. Lu Mu Yen thought about it, then suggested. Then she added, of course, you can also join forces to snatch from others. Either way, those who hold jade tablets of the same color can't snatch each other's for the first 4 months. Then let's not separate for the first 4 months. Luo Li said. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. How can we compete for jade tablets if we're with you? Those elite teams of the large kingdoms won't dare to come snatch when they see you, so how can I enter the top 10 then? Luo Li's forehead was deeply creased. So it was like they were dragging her down. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, those elite teams from large kingdoms aren't easy to deal with. You might all be in danger if you act independently. Si Nan raised a key problem. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow. We didn't come into the competition space to hide behind you and take a rank. How can we see a rainbow without experiencing wind and rain? That's not what I meant. It was also mentioned in the information in the jade tablet just now. If anyone steals the jade tablets of the top 10, the rewarded jade tablets will also become theirs. We're afraid that someone will deal with you specifically. Xinan smiled gaudily, but there was a hint of worry on his handsome face. Lu Muyan's strength was indeed good, but she relied too much on arrays. If someone impeded on her forming seals, then she would definitely be in danger. I'm begging for it. I'm precisely afraid that they won't come find me. Lu Muyan took a sip from her teacup confidently. As expected, high-end spiritual tea tasted very fragrant. Last time, she saw this kind of spiritual herb on the list from the pill tower, so she bought some at a high price. Hearing her words, everyone fell speechless. Even they had to admit that she was definitely a troublemaker, causing trouble wherever she went. Their two teams indeed need to experience some life and death situations. It's better to be separated. Luo Yi, who had been silent for a while, suddenly spoke up. When one entered the competition space, then one couldn't be greedy for life and be afraid of death. It was necessary to cherish the resources one could enjoy and improve one's strength as soon as possible. If they formed a team together, the danger they would encounter would be reduced a lot, and they wouldn't receive much training. Yi Qinghan was also in favor of separation, not just because of his rivals in love, but also because he wanted to become stronger. Only in times of tension and danger could human potential be realized. We agree to separate. Seeing that they all said this, Luo Li and Xinan couldn't propose to form a team again either, then our four groups should also separate. They only got together because of Lu Muyan. Now that Lu Muyan wanted to be separated, they naturally wouldn't think about being tied together. Lu Muyan took out a few bottles of pills from her interspatial ring and tossed it to them. You can all keep these pills for spare use. Let's meet in 5 months. Don't fall too far behind. She then stood up and added. The corners of Sinan's lips twitched. Where did this woman get so much confidence? Don't worry, we'll never let you surpass us. If they let teams from small and medium-sized kingdoms surpass them when they've separated, then how could their 4 elite teams from large kingdoms endure this? Then let's wait and see. Lu Muyan's face was dyed with a brilliant confidence, smiling beautifully. Her confident smile was the most attractive, which resonated in the hearts of Luo Li and the others. Lu Muyan, I hope to see your name in the top 10 of the rankings in 5 months. Luo Li quickly hugged Lu Muyan, then let go, just a hug and encouragement from a friend. Lu Muyan patted Luo Li on the shoulder. Little wild cat, good luck to you all as well. Let's compete to see which group will have the most people advancing into the top 30. Let's compete then. Luo Li felt his heart tickle, then asked, are you going to cultivate first or snatch jade tablets? You still need to ask? Definitely cultivate first. Even if you go snatch jade tablets first, you probably won't see many people. True, then you all take care. You all as well. Early the next morning, the group of people divided into 5 teams, leaving the central city and began their journey in the semifinals. Due to the effects of the Black Iron City wall, the spiritual force inside wasn't as abundant as in the mountains and dense fields outside. Therefore, the sword masters who entered the semifinals all left the city to find a quiet environment to cultivate. Lu Muyan and Yi Qinghan's 2 teams were also looking for a suitable place to cultivate after they left the city. Muyan, what sort of place are we going to find to cultivate in? Yi Qinghan asked curiously when he saw her searching around. Lu Muyan rubbed her chin and after pondering she said, find a place with the densest spiritual force. I think I've already found it. Follow me. Without Mo Yen, it was more troublesome for her to use her mental energy to search. Although the spiritual force of the mountains and forests in the outside world were abundant, but it was not as dense as the place where the evil Jiao chased her to last time. After pondering, she felt that it was more suitable for her to take them there to cultivate. There was a lot of spiritual force near the deep pond. There were no high-level demonic beasts around the territory that the octopus monster had occupied for a long time, and that place was also classified as a Class 2 danger zone where the Great Array couldn't monitor, so it was very secretive. In addition, other participating competitors generally wouldn't set foot in a danger zone to cultivate, so it was actually the safest for them to go there. When Lu Mu Yen brought them to the dense fog forest from before, Yun Ziamo said in surprise, "Isn't this that Class 2 danger zone? The most dangerous place is also the safest place. I was chased by the evil Jiao towards a deep pond. The place where the octopus monster and he fought until they were both defeated is abundant in spiritual force, and is very suitable for us to hide and cultivate." Lu Mu Yen smiled and replied. Her choices generally weren't wrong, and everyone believed her. "All right, well, listen to everything you say." So Lu Mu Yen took the group to the deep pond occupied by the octopus monster. Sure enough, because of the pressure and fear caused by the octopus monster, there were no other demonic beasts appearing in the vicinity. The frozen ice in the deep pond still showed no signs of melting, and Lu Mu Yen had to sigh with emotion about Ming Xiu's abnormally monstrous strength. For the safety of the two teams, she took out the last set of jade stones she nourished and arranged a 9-palace array. From the outside, no one could detect their auras, and if a human or demonic beast forced their way in, they would also be lost in the array. Afterwards, she buried the set of jade stones needed to arrange the array in a place with the densest spiritual force. The spiritual force here is indeed much more abundant than outside. Mu Yi said with a smile. Shi Feng didn't show much emotion, but his eyes were filled with joy. The territory occupied by a Tier 8 demonic beast will naturally not be bad. There just so happened to be a barren mountain near the deep pond. The group made a cave in the barren mountain and lived there, preparing to speed up their cultivation for 3 months before exiting to snatch jade tablets. Time passed in a hurry. A month later, Lu Mu Yen cultivation base advanced to middle phase Sword Monarch, and her foundation establishment stage was also in the late layers. When she reached peak phase Sword Monarch, she believed that her foundation establishment stage would be able to reach the final layer. Because of her special constitution, she could comprehend all the laws of heaven and earth, so even if her cultivation speed was double or triple the speed of others, her advancement speed was affected by it. She used her mental energy to probe into the spirit beast ring and found that Mo Yen was currently wrapped in a large net of blue flames, and his aura was sometimes strong, sometimes weak. He was probably still refining the octopus monster's demonic spirit. "Owner, after staying in the cave for so long, let's go out and look for some spiritual herbs." Seeing Lu Mu Yan's cultivation base advancing one phase, Bing Ji knew she wouldn't continue to cultivate anymore, so he urged. Lu Mu Yen glanced at him. "I'm really suspicious about how you cultivated your Tier 8 cultivation base. I'm a genuine Tier 8, so of course my talent is exceptional." Bing Ji raised his head proudly. "With you being so lazy and only wanting to go out for a walk all day long, if you continue like this, Xue Xue and Miao Miao would have advanced to Tier 9 and you'll still be standing in the same spot." Bing Ji had a very active and lively temperament and simply couldn't sit still at all. It was already really good for him to have cultivated in the cave for a month. Lu Mu Yen really couldn't figure out how he used to cultivate to Tier 8. Bing Ji pursed his lips and muttered quietly, "Isn't it because my demonic energy is sealed by your man, so it's very tiring to cultivate? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, don't find excuses." Lu Mu Yen reached out and knocked him on the head. "Ming Xiu suppressed the demonic energy in you, so it's difficult for you to cultivate now, but it can make the demonic energy in your body more pure, and when the seal is broken, it'll have more benefits for you. You'd better cultivate hard, otherwise when Miao Miao and Xue Xue surpass you, you'll watch where you'll place your old face." Lu Mu Yen knew that this kind of blow would be more effective for Bing Ji, who loved face. Sure enough, Bing Ji's small eyes swept over Miao Miao and Xue Xue, as if he had been stimulated. "Owner, I'll continue to go cultivate now. They want to surpass me? No way." He was already suppressed by Mo Yen. If those two things also surpassed him, then how much face would he lose? Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. "Let's go out for a walk first and along the way, get some crystal cores for you to come back to refine. Little owner is the best, then I'll cultivate when I return." Bing Ji rubbed his head against Lu Mu Yan's shoulder. "Sycophant." Miao Miao snorted. Xue Xue also agreed with a response. "Crazy flatterer. What do you two children know?" Humph. Bing Ji snorted. Lu Mu Yen was too lazy to pay attention to them. Seeing that Lu Mu Bai and the others were still meditating and cultivating, she went out alone. There must be something special about this mountain forest for it to be classified as a Class 2 danger zone. There should definitely be no shortage of spiritual herbs and spiritual items. Now that her mental energy had recovered, she would be able to find what she needed with just a bit of effort. After leaving the cave opened in the barren mountain, she gave some maintenance to the array before leaping towards the depths. 5 days later, a purple figure fled in a sorry state, followed by a group of wasp-like demonic beasts the size of fists. Seeing a small stream ahead of her, Lu Mu Yen jumped down without hesitation. The large group of demonic beasts that looked like wasps were a little afraid of water, and wandered around the stream for a day before gradually leaving. Lu Mu Yen surfaced from the water and looked in the direction in which the demonic beasts left with fiery desire in her eyes. When the competition is almost over, it'll come to subdue you all. Owner, what are doing going to poke a scarlet bee's nest one? Bing Ji was stung a few times causing huge lumps and complained with a weak look. Naturally to scoop out some scarlet bee honey. That's a good thing. Lu Mu Yan's expression revealed a bit of interest, and don't you think it'd be super cool to have a bee colony as a spirit pet? If she didn't have flash steps and a load of means to escape, she would have probably died in that scarlet bee nest. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. The thing is good, but you also need to have the life to take it. It wasn't easy to subdue such a swarm of scarlet bees. He felt that Lu Mu Yen was truly indulging in the wildest fantasy. Although the queen of that scarlet bee colony is only a Tier 7 demonic beast, but it could breed countless Tier 5 and 6 scarlet bees. Not to mention subdue, it was even difficult to get close to. I know. So isn't it that I'm waiting for until my strength advances a little more before going again? The fieriness in Lu Mu Yan's eyes didn't subside, but only grew stronger. Seeing the heat in her eyes, Bing Ji couldn't resist twitching the corner of his lips. Owner's hobby was truly weird. Lu Mu Yen was about to rest for a while, but suddenly turned her gaze towards a place not far away. There's a fight ahead, let's go and take a look. Chapter 255. Saving a beautiful man from evil clutches. Lu Mu Yen felt the aura of a human sword master and a demonic beast. After a while, the fight ended not far away and she sped up rushing over. It wasn't that she wanted to take part in the battle. She just wanted to see if she could pick up a bargain and take some jade tablets. When she approached that place, she hid her figure and slowly felt her way over. Crossing a jungle, what entered her eyes was a lake with elegant and beautiful scenery. The trees reflected in the lake, gleaming and glistening clearly. It was just that such a beautiful and tranquil scenery was broken by the few people beside the lake. Ahead of her, a man in red whose face could not be seen clearly laid motionless on the ground, and around him were 5 other men who were also immobile. Most importantly, there was a tall and burly woman with her claws outstretched towards the red-clothed man and a lecherous look in her eyes. Lu Mu Yen couldn't resist twitching the corners of her lips and asked Bing Ji, who was already dumbfounded, "That woman is a demonic beast, right?" Bing Ji shuddered. "She's indeed a tigress. That man is so miserable to be molested like that." Although Lu Mu Yen couldn't see the man's face clearly, but she could still feel his anger, so she guessed that he was probably calculated by the tigress. "Beauty, just let Laonyang one enjoy you well." The burly woman rubbed her hands with a lecherous look on her face. Lu Mu Yen held her forehead. It sure was the first time she had seen a woman so unrestrained, although she was a demonic beast. "I'm afraid that man won't be able to man up again in the future." Bing Ji couldn't bear to look directly and felt much sympathy for that man. Lu Mu Yen sure didn't want to watch a live spring palace painting too. She originally wanted to leave, but seeing those red clothes that were so similar to Ming Xiu's, she stopped in her steps. "Want to eat a crystal core of a Tier 7 demonic beast?" She raised an eyebrow and looked at Bing Ji. Bing Ji swallowed. "Want to eat? Then I'll hand that tigress over to you." Lu Mu Yen ripped Bing Ji off her shoulder and directly tossed him out. "And it's also perfect to hone your combat ability. Don't tell me that a Tier 8 demonic beast like you can't even beat a Tier 7 demonic beast. If you can't win, then don't return." Bing Ji flew. And just as he was about to quickly fly away, he heard Lu Muyan's words, so he could only follow the trajectory of owner's toss and fly over. But my demonic energy has been sealed. He didn't want to fight a tigress. What if the tigress took a fancy to him? Lu Muyan's lips curled up and smiled, telepathically saying, but you're ultimately still a tier 8 demonic beast. If you can't even beat her, you can really go die a bit. The threat in her tone made Bingji shudder. Ooh. Suddenly, an unknown flying object sprung out, and the burly woman who had already torn apart the red-clothed man's clothes raised her head and said fiercely. Bingji could only toughen his skin and stand firmly in the air with his small head raised and disdain in his eyes. You, a tigress, really makes us demonic beasts lose face. You even use force against men. Humph, where comes a bitch parrot that dares to butt into Lei Onyang's business? I'll cook you once I'm finished here. Obviously, Bingji was only like a weak chicken in the eyes of the burly woman. Bingji, you really lose face as a divine beast. When you go out in the future, don't say I'm your owner. Lu Muyan's telepathic words added fuel to the fire. Meow Meow said, that stinky bird is a good-for-nothing. Owner, don't expect him to be able to deal with that tigress. That's right, maybe he'll really be cooked by the tigress. Shui also joined in the fun. Bingji's old face flushed red. He was deeply belittled by his teammate just like this. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, Humph, you tigress, don't you dare continue to bullying this male beauty. Bingji was dealt a great blow by them and manifested that into anger as he turned into his true form. A brilliant and beautiful ice swan appeared in midair. The eyes of the burly woman who originally didn't care suddenly lit up. Divine beast. Then she immediately smacked her lips with pity, but a pity that you can't transform into a human. Go to the side to play, don't hinder me from enjoying the male beauty. You shameless tigress, watch this little master punish the wicked and eliminate evil. Bingji didn't want to be looked down upon by Meow Meow and Shui Shui. He wanted to be the second boss. So with a wave of his wings, countless icicles immediately attacked the woman. The burly woman was in a very bad mood, having her interests being dampened. She raised her head and roared, then waved her fists directly to meet the countless icicles. The icicles were broken inch by the woman's air-shattering fist with demonic energy, then finally disappeared into powder. Bingji narrowed his eyes. This tigress sure had some skills. Bingji, go lure her somewhere else to fight. Lu Muyan said telepathically, if you win, I'll refine a grade 4 pill for you to take. Bingji was originally reluctant, but when he heard the grade 4 pill, it was as if he was suddenly given a stimulant and cursed the woman a load. You tigress is old and ugly and I'm going to tear you apart. Bingji's blows obviously angered the tigress. Bingji said, with a slovenly attitude, then spread his wings and flew towards the opposite side of the lake. The woman turned her head and transformed into a giant yellow mystic striped tiger and chased after him. Lu Muyan climbed out of the bushes and blinked, muttering to herself, she's really a tigress 3. She could feel that the other party was a tier 7 demonic beast, but she couldn't tell what her original form was. Seeing the woman transform into her original form of a mystic striped tiger, she couldn't resist feeling sympathy for the red-clothed man. Since his red clothes reminded her of Ming Xiu, she decided to save him from the clutches of the tigress. Seeing that Bingji and the tigress had long since disappeared, she quickly walked towards the red-clothed man and squatted down to see why they couldn't move. What entered her eyes was a handsome face that was even more androgynous than Sinan with a devilish aura mixed in. The gorgeous red brocade clothes tightly wrapped his sturdy but not burly body. The neckline was torn open by the previous woman, and the scenery inside was looming. A pair of seductive, amorous peach-shaped eyes were beneath his stylish, sharp brows, and his half-opened pink lips beneath his tall nose were extremely sexy. At this time, his face was pale, and his eyes were scarlet, probably because he was awfully angered that he was almost indecently assaulted just now. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes inwardly. He was indeed a beauty. No wonder that tigress was so impatient. However, she had seen countless beautiful men, and those she befriended were also mostly beautiful men. She was only astonished at first sight, but curbed her emotions. Although this man was devilishly handsome and charming, but he was still inferior to Ming Xiu. She saw that the man looked at her with surprise and slight embarrassment. A shallow smile appeared on her lips. "I'll see if you all can still be saved." Knowing that the man couldn't speak, she placed her hand on his wrist to feel his pulse. She thought it was just poisoning, but who knew that this man was actually ill? No wonder he was subdued by the tigress with his strength. His illness probably acted up. "I'll cure your poison first, but this pill isn't given to you for free. You'll have to pay me after you regain your freedom." Lu Mu Yen took out a white porcelain bottle and poured out a pill before shaking it in front of the man and saying. The man blinked his peach blossom-shaped eyes to indicate that he could. Lu Mu Yen squeezed his chin and fed him one, then walked to the other people and fed them a grade 3 spiritual cleansing pill. It only took a few breaths of time for the poison that the tigress used on them to be cured. Piu! The moment the man's poison was cured, he couldn't resist spitting out a mouthful of blood. One Laonyang is an equivalent to lousy and also an arrogant way of self-address, but for females. It literally translates to mother and father respectively, and also can be translated into your old mother and your old father when used for self-address, but it would sound weird said in certain circumstances, so I'm leaving it as its pinyin. 2. It is euphemism for paintings of bedtime activities between a married couple. 3. The word tigress is often used to describe strong, fierce women, often in a negative way. In this case, a pun exists as the demonic beast is literally a female tiger. Chapter 256. Heart disease. Lu Mu Yen turned around and saw the red-clothed man spitting out a mouthful of blood. He closed his eyes, and when he opened then again, the emotions in his eyes were curbed. He was pale and in a bit of pain, then took out a silk handkerchief and wiped the blood on his lips. Then he looked up at Lu Mu Yen and managed a smile. "Thank you, Miss Lu, for today." Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow. "You know me?" Who does not know young Miss Lu and Chu Han's name now? The dark horses that advanced into the top 5 will naturally attract special attention. Yen Jun didn't expect that his sorry state would be seen by this woman, but seeing that she had saved him, the killing intent in his heart was gradually suppressed. "What's your name?" Lu Mu Yen felt that this man's aura was a little familiar, so she should have encountered him before, but she didn't have much of an impression. Yen Jun sat up laboriously, coughed sharply for a bit, then said slowly, "Yen Jun. So it turns out that you're Yen Jun who ranked second in the preliminary round." A cunning light flashed past Lu Mu Yen's eyes. Yen Jun came from the Yen clan of a superpower kingdom, one of the top smithing clans on Tianling continent. His position was nobler than that of a prince of an empire, and he was unfathomable himself. This was information she obtained from Si Nan and Luo Li when they mentioned Yen Jun. "Please do excuse me." Yen Jun's pale face was covered in blue and purple and his breathing was a little short. He hurriedly took out a pill and swallowed it, and only then did his breathing gradually stabilize. "Your pill for treating your heart disease cures the symptoms but not the root cause." Lu Mu Yen looked at Yen Jun with deep eyes. Yen Jun raised his head sharply to look at Lu Mu Yen and asked weakly, "You're a physician?" "In a way." Lu Mu Yen nodded. There were physicians and alchemists on this continent. Physicians mainly focused on curing diseases, but they couldn't refine pills. Alchemists mainly focused on refining pills, but weren't as good at saving people, so the two complemented each other. Physicians were also divided into grades. There were many low-grade physicians on this continent, and basically every clan had a physician, but there were very few physicians grade 3 and above. They were the targets of many major forces to compete for and win over. After all, sword masters would also have hidden illnesses, and they could also encounter poisoning and sudden sickness, so they needed physicians to treat them. Of course, there were also people who were both alchemists and physicians, but they were even rarer, such as herself. After Yen Jun took the pill, the blue-purple color on his face gradually faded, and after a while, he looked at her and said, "Did you know that I have a heart disease because you took my pulse?" The fact that he had a heart disease was not a big secret among the superiors of the clan. After all, his father, as the patriarch, often invited high-grade physicians home to treat him, but Lu Muyen, who came from a small kingdom, couldn't possibly know these secrets. This woman always gave a sense of mystery. Maybe she really was a physician. Of course, your heart disease is from birth and caused by your mother taking some kind of medicinal product when she was pregnant. Lu Muyan's face revealed a rare seriousness. Yan Jun revealed surprise, pressed his lips together and said, "I didn't expect Miss Lao's medical skills to be so brilliant. Miss, can you heal our young lord?" Suddenly, an ordinary-looking man behind Yan Jun asked eagerly, "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks, Yan Jun never thought that Lu Muyen could cure his chronic illness. After all, even grade 4 physicians were helpless, so how could she, a teenage girl, cure him? But hearing his teammate's question, he couldn't help but feel hope in his heart. Even if it was very small, he didn't want to give up. Lu Muyen considered the advantages and disadvantages of treating Yan Jun, and she found that it wasn't bad to let this man with a deep background owe her a big favor. Before she left, Yanzhou Kingdom just gave her a feeling that a storm was about to arrive. If she recruited a few more talented elites from superpower kingdoms who were highly valued, it would definitely be beneficial for the safety of the Lu clan. Actually, it's not difficult to cure your heart disease. Lu Muyen said truthfully. Luo Yes blindness needed to be cured by finding several very rare spiritual herbs to create eye drops, paired with golden needles. Meanwhile, Yanjun's heart disease could be cured by just using the repairing green mist in her dantian paired with golden needles. It wouldn't take too long either. Yanjun's heart disease was carried from his mother's womb, and the main reason was actually due to the use of a medicinal product that caused his heart to be unable to withstand the baptism of elemental energy. If he were a normal person or a low-level sword master, it wouldn't trigger a severe heart disease, but as long as he cultivated above Sword King, his heart's defects would be exposed. The higher the cultivation base, the greater the chance of him getting sick. If he couldn't control it and repair his heart, then when he reached Sword Venerable cultivation base, he might even lose his life. Yan Jun didn't believe her words inwardly, but he didn't reveal it in his expressions. He narrowed his seductive peach blossom-shaped eyes and asked with a smile, "Young Miss Lu, can you tell me my symptoms?" No one else knew about his symptoms when his illness breaks out, and he never told others either. He sure wanted to see if she really was capable or not. When your cultivation base had yet to reach Sword King, the disease would occur at most once a year. Each time, you would feel your heart beat fast and some pain. When your cultivation base reached Sword King, the frequency of the attacks would increase to once every 3 months, and the pain also turned into a sharp pain. Lu Muyen looked at him with a smile yet not quite a smile and continued, "As your cultivation base continues to grow, the number of times the illness has acted up has also increased. Judging from your current appearance, your illness should act up once or twice every month, especially in 2 or 3 days after a battle. You're bound to experience a pain that's worse than death." Seeing Yan Jun's beautiful eyes and pupils constrict, she added, "Every time your disease acts up, you have difficulty breathing, your whole body will be weak, your elemental energy can't operate in your body, and your face will gradually turn blue and purple. If you don't take the pill to control your illness, you will go into brief shock. Most importantly, you will actually be relieved of your pain, but it will take a few days to recover to your usual after each onset." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. "I wonder if what I said is accurate?" Yan Jun's expression didn't change, his eyes were calm, but his tightly clasped hands beneath his sleeves revealed his unsettled heart. Young Miss Lu is completely right. It would be a lie to say he wasn't shocked. Even the grade 4 physician who treated him couldn't describe his symptoms so accurately. At this time, he couldn't help but believe that she really knew what she was doing. "Why do you fight so hard? Don't you know that the higher your cultivation base, the more serious your heart disease will be? When you reach Sword Venerable, maybe it might even be the end of your time." Lu Muyen said bluntly. Yan Jun revealed a wry, bitter smile. "There are some things where I can't choose what I want." Lu Muyen didn't ask much. She knew the battles in large clans were very complicated, and even pulling one hair would move the entire body. Yan Jun knew the danger but still continued to cultivate desperately. He naturally had his own reasons. True. In addition to the resources and status given by one's identity and background, there was also responsibility and freedom to give up. Lu Mu Yen nodded in understanding. Yan Jun's eyes revealed a bit of strangeness. He obviously didn't expect Lu Mu Yen to say such profound words. After all, judging from the information he obtained, her Lu clan was only a small clan, and the Lu family loved her very much since she was a child. She shouldn't understand the intrigue of those large clans. Then what young Miss Lu means is that you can cure my heart disease? This was what he cared most about. One meaning that doing something minor might cause a huge ripple effect of sorts. Chapter 257. Payment. Then what young Miss Lu means is that you can cure my heart disease? Lu Mu Yen said with a light smile, naturally I can. If you have any conditions, you can say it. Yan Jun's amorous eyes contained a firm look. Even if there was only a 1% chance, he didn't want to let it go. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow. Are you that certain ill help to treat it? Since you, yourself, admitted that you can cure it, then you must have already made a decision. It now only depends on whether the things I give you can make your heart move. Yan Jun was a smart person, so he dared to conclude that Lu Mu Yen would help him with the treatment. You sure know how to take an opportunity. Lu Mu Yen chuckled. Before we discuss the treatment of your heart disease, shouldn't we talk about the payment for rescuing you from the tigress just now? At the mention of that tigress, Yan Jun's face instantly turned dark. This was a stain in his life. If it weren't for Lu Mu Yen just now, although he still had a trump card to not be forced by the demonic beast, but the price he had to pay would be very high. What kind of payment do you want? Lu Mu Yen already asked for a reward before removing the poison for them. At the time, he already promised, so he naturally wouldn't go back on his promises, not to mention that he also counted on her to treat his illness, although he had little hope. Just give spiritual stones. Lu Mu Yen said generously. The spiritual stones on her were pitifully few. She heard that the auction in the central city would be held in 3 months, so she should at least prepare some spiritual stones. Yan Jun's eyes were dyed with a slight smile. Just spiritual stones? Such a requirement was indeed a little low. I want spiritual stones. How much do you think you should give? Lu Mu Yen nodded. Yan Jun thought about it and said, how about giving you 10,000 low-quality spiritual stones? 4 sword masters below sword venerable, 10,000 spiritual stones could already be regarded as huge wealth. Sure. Lu Mu Yen felt that the payment given by Yan Jun was still quite high. After all, Mu Tong only spent 2,000 spiritual stones to buy that black crystal diamond and felt so pained. This was the gap between elite pupils of superpower kingdom clans. Then can we talk about the treatment now? Yan Jun said with a smile. Although his face was still pale, but he couldn't hide his devilish aura. Ming Xiu also occasionally revealed a devilish charm, but he and Yan Jun were 2 completely different types of people, and their temperaments were very different. Sure, it's just treatment of a heart disease, trivial. For her, it really was trivial to treat diseases that could be cured without needing to refine pills with spiritual herbs, but her words changed flavor in Yan Jun and the others' ears. The expression of the man, who had requested of Lu Mu Yen, changed, and couldn't help but regret, wondering if he was too reckless just now to even believe that a teenage girl could cure young lord. The corner of Yan Jun's lips twitched. Why did Lu Mu Yan's tone sound as if she needed a beating? The hope that rose from the bottom of his heart was also about to dissipate. For a disease that even a grade 4 physician couldn't cure, she, a nobody physician, was probably only strong with her words. Then it'll trouble Miss Lu. I wonder what I should prepare? Yan Jun thought about it and still prepared to give it a try. There wouldn't be any loss anyway, and he had a good impression of Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Yen could see that they didn't believe her, but she didn't bother explaining. She had always been a proactive person. You don't need to prepare anything, it's enough for me to prepare. Lu Mu Yan's expression was light. The suspicion and disappointment in Yan Jun's heart were even stronger, but he still asked with a smile, "Then I wonder what kind of payment Miss Lu wants? So that I can prepare. How much do you think your life is worth? I just want some spiritual stones and a personal favor." Although Lu Mu Yen was somewhat interested in the magic tools refined by the Yen clan, but right now, spiritual stones were more useful to her. The color in Yen Jun's eyes changed, then the corner of his lips raised. "Sure. If you can really cure my heart disease, I will pay you 100,000 low-quality spiritual stones and a personal favor within my power. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks 100,000 spiritual stones was also a huge expense for him, but it was within the range he could bear. It merely meant that the cultivation resources for the next few years were used in advance. If it could be exchanged for his recovery, then it was worth it. Refreshing. Then that settled. Lu Mu Yan's eyes narrowed into a crescent shape with her smile, indicating that she was in a pretty good mood. Yen Jun really deserved to be the young lord of the top clan in a superpower kingdom. One move and it was 100,000 spiritual stones. It was likely that there weren't so many spiritual stones even shared between many clans. "Do you want a contract?" "I don't have a contract text on me, but I can buy it in the central city." Yen Jun asked with a smile. A contract text was a kind of contract stone refined by an array master. After the text was engraved, both parties would sign it with blood. If there was any violation, they would be punished by the laws of heaven and earth. "No need. It's troublesome going back and forth. Since I dared to come to save you, then I naturally trust you." Lu Mu Yen wasn't afraid that Yen Jun wouldn't pay up. She was both a physician and an alchemist. If Yen Jun was cured, the other party would only want to win her over and wouldn't go back on his words just for 100,000 spiritual stones, nor would he get rid of her. After wandering around in the immortal cultivation world for so long, she could still read people very accurately. Yen Jun's face revealed slight joy. The feeling of being believed in was indeed pretty good. "All right. Then I wonder when we will start the treatment? How long will it take?" "Anytime. Around 3 days." Lu Mu Yen set a conservative time frame. In fact, with the powerful repairing ability of the green mist in her dantian, Yen Jun's heart could be repaired in 1 day, but in order to not be so amazing, she decided to treat it in 3 days. After listening to her words, everyone didn't feel happy at all, but instead, disappointed. An illness that even a grade 4 alchemist couldn't cure, she only needed 3 days and she didn't need to prepare other things. Go lie to a ghost. "Young Miss Lu, you aren't joking with us, are you?" One of them couldn't resist but say. Lu Mu Yen could understand their disbelief, but she didn't like others questioning her. Her smile sank and she snorted coldly, "Treat or don't treat, suit yourself." After she finished speaking, she turned around and prepared to go see if the stinky bird Bing Ji had settled the tigress or not. Her spirit pet better not have been tainted by that tigress simply in order to rescue a stranger. Seeing her angry, turn around and leave, Yen Jun's eyelids jumped. This woman really couldn't be offended. The man who questioned Lu Mu Yen had a very ugly expression and he didn't know what to say either. Even if he really didn't believe that she could save him, but he couldn't resist but want to give it a try, otherwise he'll feel unreconciled. Their young lord was a soul-like being of their lineage. If he had an accident, they wouldn't have any way to survive in the future either. "Young Miss Lu, why be angry? My teammates only said rude words because they were worried about my condition. I apologized to you instead of him." He endured it for that sliver of hope. The face of the person who spoke revealed some embarrassment and was touched. He decided to be loyal to Yen Jun even more. He also secretly decided that if Lu Mu Yen could treat young lord, he would thank her even if he had to be a cow or a horse one for her. If she couldn't treat him, then he definitely wouldn't give her any good fruit to eat too. Lu Mu Yen turned around and looked at Yen Jun, who had a calm expression, but was holding back. A smile rose on her face. "Able to be flexible, what a person you are. When my spirit pet returns, the treatment can begin." Yen Jun looked at her in surprise and asked, "You meant to say that you can treat me in just a little while?" "Of course." 1. An idiom meaning that he would do anything. 2. A saying meaning that they wouldn't treat her well and may even do her bad. Chapter 258. Treat heart disease. Lu Mu Yen had been observing the movements of Bing Ji with her mental energy. Although she believed in his ability, but she was also afraid of any accidents. Bing Ji usually acted pretty silly, would be rather slovenly from time to time, and would also be lazy while cultivating, but because he was the descendant of the Xian Luan divine beast with a pure bloodline and exceptional strength, his own abilities and innate talents were an average. Sure enough, after a while, a big, cyan blue ice Luan bird returned with a yellow and white mystic striped tiger. Back. As soon as Bing Ji flew to the lake, he tossed the corpse of the mystic striped tiger on the ground, his eyes glistening brightly to ask for credit. Lu Mu Yen took out a bottle of grade 3 pills and tossed a few over. You did a good job. Bing Ji swallowed the pills in his mouth in only a bit, but still looked like he was unsatisfied, and thought about the grade 4 pill that owner said she would refine. The behavior of the one human and one beast stunned Yen Jun and the others. Young Miss Lu, are you giving grade 3 pills to your spirit pet to eat? As soon as Yen Jun saw Lu Mu Yen pour out the pills, he smelt the fragrance, and it was definitely grade 3 pills. Lu Mu Yen said, unconcerned, yeah, what's wrong? Since she was able to refine a variety of grade 3 pills, she had no more grade 2 pills. After her cultivation base entered initial phase Sword Monarch, the fire elemental energy she condensed could already be used to refine grade 4 pills. Yen Jun and the others couldn't resist but twitch the corners of their lips. He said with a smile, could you allow this one to take a look at the pills? They'll just gift you a few. Take it as a gift for your 100,000 spiritual stones. Lu Mu Yen took out a bottle of spiritual energy recovery pills and a bottle of elemental energy nurturing pills and threw them other. Yen Jun caught the bottle and poured out the 2 types of pills contained within it. One was pure white, while the other was a full and clear light yellow. He placed it close to his nose and sniffed it, then his eyes revealed surprise. These pills are like the force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill, but it also feels a little different. A bit of admiration flashed across Lu Mu Yan's beautiful eyes. These 2 pills have similar effects to the force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill. However, my spiritual energy recovery pill can be used by sword masters at Sword Monarch cultivation base where, using only one, it can restore at least 2/3 of elemental energy, and the elemental energy nurturing pill can not only improve one's cultivation base, but also nourish one's elemental energy and consolidate one's origins. The efficacy of these 2 pills is better than that of the pill tower's force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill. As an elite pupil of a large clan, Yen Jun could naturally distinguish the grade of pills at a glance. The 4 pills that Lu Mu Yen took out were all top-quality grade 3 pills, and even a grade 4 alchemist might not be able to refine such high-quality pills. He was curious, but it wasn't good to ask more. That's natural. The elemental condensing pill of the pill tower can improve cultivation base, but can't nourish one's elemental energy and consolidate one's origins, while my elemental energy nurturing pill could even stabilize one's cultivation base on top of the effects of the elemental condensing pill. Lu Mu Yen paused, then said, and the elemental energy nurturing pill can make the elemental energy even purer, but it doesn't need to be taken long-term. About 10 pills is enough to be effective. It actually has such an effect. Yen Jun was dubious inwardly, but judging from the fragrance, quality, and grades, they indeed surpassed the force-nourishing pill and the elemental condensing pill of the pill tower. Lu Mu Yen chuckled and raised an eyebrow slightly. If you don't believe me, you can try one now. Either way, most of the elemental energy in your body has been depleted. I guarantee you will recover after taking 1 pill. Yen Jun couldn't resist twitching the corners of his lips again. It wasn't as if he had a problem to take this kind of pill that could instantly replenish his elemental energy now. Such pills were a means of saving his life. That's not necessary. Let's wait for a critical time in the future to use it. Whatever you like. After speaking, Lu Mu Yen swept the surrounding environment, then pointed to the direction where Bing Ji chased after the tigress and said, I'll treat you now. I'm afraid that if I'm out for too long, the others will be worried. Then she put away the corpse of the mystic striped tiger on the ground. This was Bing Ji's trophy. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing her confident look, Yanjun pressed his lips together, then said, all right. Since he agreed to her treatment, then he might as well give it a try. Even if he couldn't be cured, he wouldn't find trouble for her for the sake of these pills. The people found the tigress cave in the dense forest by the lake. Lu Muyen looked around and found some spars and a few golden iron tree leaves. She put them away, filled with smiles, in front of Yanjun and the others. Golden iron tree leaves were good things and was rare even in the immortal cultivation world. Who knew where the tigress obtained it from? Yanjun and the others didn't intervene either. After all, the tigress was killed by Lu Muyan's spirit pet. They naturally wouldn't take it by force. Moreover, the Tier 6 Ice Luan divine beast could even kill a Tier 7 demonic beast, which also made them very cautious. Lu Muyen was rather satisfied with the tigress cave, but she just didn't like the smell of a tiger. She took out a pink medicinal pellet, squashed it gently, and a faint fragrance wafted out. After a while, the stinky smell in the cave disappeared. Seeing that she took out pills and medicinal pellets with such familiarity, the several people believed that she knew some medical skills, but it was unknown whether she was indeed as powerful as she said she was. An array was arranged outside the cave, then Lu Muyen said to Yanjun, take off your clothes. Cough, cough. Hearing her suddenly tell him to take off his clothes so confidently, embarrassment rose on his face. Is this necessary for the treatment? If he didn't know that she was going to treat him, he would have thought she was going to mimic the tigress and molest him. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes. Obviously, with just your skinny body, it can't even enter this Miss Eyes. Yanjun didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Wasn't his figure very standard? Where was he skinny? Yanjun's 5 teammates couldn't resist, and they held back their laughter. This woman named Lu Muyen was really interesting. Because of the need for treatment, although Yanjun felt embarrassed, but he still took off his shirt to reveal his sturdy upper body. Lu Muyen sat behind him, stretched out her hand and poked it casually. Who knew that you look skinny, but you have some material after taking it off? Yanjun's face darkened. Was he being teased? Miss Lu, let's begin. There was a trace of suppressed anger in his voice. Lu Muyan's lips raised into an arc. She precisely wanted to arouse Yanjun's slight anger, which would be more helpful for her to pinpoint the defect in his heart. Her little face grew serious in an instant. She formed a few Daoist seals and inserted them into Yanjun's body one by one, took out a pill for him to take, then used her golden needles to find the acupuncture points and stabbed in. When the golden needles formed a shape similar to the 8 trigrams, she stretched out her hands and gently stroked the back of the needles. A little bit of spiritual energy flowed out from her palm, and the spiritual energy containing the green mist was channeled into Yanjun's body through the golden needles. For hours later, the tip of her nose and forehead were covered with a layer of fine sweat, and Yanjun's pale face became much rosier. When Lu Muyen treated him, it wasn't as painful as he imagined. Instead, a warm spiritual energy baptized his heart over and over again, making him feel extremely comfortable. Lu Muyen took out a spiritual energy recovery pill and took it. Well, finish here for today. Take care of yourself a little, and well, continue tomorrow. Seeing that she took a spiritual energy recovery pill even in such a situation, the several people couldn't resist but scold inwardly. How prodigal, what a prodigal woman. Chapter 259. Oh, the personal favor. For now, on the 3rd day, Lu Muyen closed her eyes and used the spiritual energy with the green mist to repair the defect in Yanjun's heart. In the past 2 days, she had nourished his heart, precisely to prepare for repair. I'm going to start repairing your heart next. You have to endure it no matter how painful. Lu Muyen said before beginning. Yanjun nodded. Don't worry, I can bear it. After Lu Muyen reminded him, she said no more. She applied the golden needles first to make his blood flow backwards, and the pressure on his heart continued to expand. Yanjun's body trembled, and the expanding pain from the backward flow of blood in his vessels made him grit his teeth tightly. This kind of pain was indeed more painful than before, but as long as his heart disease could be cured, he wouldn't give up. Not long after, Yanjun's red clothes were wet with sweat, and his face flushed abnormally. Fortunately, his other team members were kicked out by Lu Mu Yen before she applied the needles. Otherwise, seeing Yen Jun's appearance right now, they would definitely feel that she was acting recklessly. Yen Jun was in unbearable pain, and his whole body trembled, but with his firm perseverance, he still gritted his teeth and endured. When the heart swelled to a certain size, it stopped automatically. Lu Mu Yen probed with her mental energy to find the defect, then immediately injected the green mist into his body, circulating and repairing around the heart continuously. Her hands weren't idle either, as she continuously changed the positions of the golden needles to cooperate with the green mist to repair. Most of the spiritual energy in her body was used, and she took time to pour a spiritual energy recovery pill into her mouth, then continued to heal. Time passed bit by bit, and after 10 hours, the backward flow of blood returned to normal, the flushing on Yen Jun's face gradually faded, and his complexion returned to the ruddiness of a normal person. The swollen heart shrunk back to its original size little by little, but with a little observation, one could see that the missing part of the heart had been filled in, and a layer of faint green energy surrounded it, nourishing the beating heart. Lu Mu Yen pulled out the last golden needle, and only after she finished her work did she realize that her whole body was also wet with sweat. She sighed inwardly. It seemed that this method was still very labor-intensive, but as long as she entered the core formation stage, she would be able to relax a lot more. She still couldn't wait to improve her cultivation base. After taking a pill, she sat cross-legged to recover her spiritual energy and physical strength. Yen Jun opened his tightly closed eyes, filled with extreme delight. He performed a few macrocosmic orbits around his body with his elemental energy and found that his heart was no longer weak and in pain, as if it couldn't bear the energy. He knew that he was no doubt a normal person now. Your heart has only just been repaired. In the next 3 days, it's best to not use too much elemental energy. Lu Mu Yen noticed that Yen Jun was running his elemental energy in his body and furrowed her brows, reminding. This man normally looked rather composed. How could he not understand this sort of common sense? Yen Jun suffered from having a fragile heart since he was a child, so he couldn't help but be overjoyed when he was suddenly cured. Hearing Lu Mu Yan's reminder, he immediately retrieved his elemental energy. Thank you for your reminder. I lost my composure just now. Lu Mu Yen ignored it and sat quietly to recover. Yen Jun stood up and moved his muscles and bones, then looked at her gently and walked out of the cave alone. The moment Yen Jun exited, the several people waiting outside the cave quickly surrounded him. Young lord, how was it? Yen Jun's face was filled with rosiness, but his inner excitement calmed down a lot. My heart disease has been cured. What? Fantastic. The man who had asked Lu Mu Yen for help had an excited look on his face. I didn't expect that woman to have such skills. They were actually prepared for the treatment to fail while they waited outside the cave. Such a surprise was indeed truly fantastic. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Yen Jun's thin lips rose into a smile. She is indeed quite surprising. Not only was she surprising, but she also hid her abilities well. He suspected that the grade 3 pills that Lu Mu Yen didn't even care about were refined by herself. Young lord, what should we do next? One of them asked. Yen Jun stroked his chest, where the position of his heart was, and his face revealed a rare tranquility. Wait for her to rest before making plans. She is worthy of the Yen clan's friendship. Simply based on her attainments in arrays and as a physician, it is indeed the best choice to befriend her. A young man who spoke few words among the 5 said, I understand. The next day, Lu Mu Yen opened her eyes and stood up, then walked out of the cave. Young Miss Lu, how have you recovered? Yen Jun had been outside the cave the entire time. When he saw her come out, he revealed a smile, and his androgynous, handsome, and devilish face even set off the surrounding flowers as dim and colorless. Lu Mu Yen smiled lightly and said, I've recovered pretty well. Is there anything unusual about your body? No. I feel that after my heart was healed, I feel much more relaxed completely. The bottleneck that he had suppressed for a long time had also begun to loosen, and he believed that he would be able to break through to Sword Sovereign in another month or 2. Then that's good. Yan Jun walked to Lu Mu Yen and handed her an interspatial bag. I only have 50,000 spiritual stones with me right now. I'll pay you the remaining 50,000 when I leave this competition space. Sure. Lu Mu Yen took the spiritual stones without being humble. This Yan Jun really was rolling in money. Young Miss Lu, I still owe you a personal favor. Do you want to use it now? Yan Jun leaned against the cave wall languidly with a lazy expression. Lu Mu Yen smiled and said, "Oh, the personal favor for now, I don't need it right now." She had a feeling that she might be able to use Yan Jun's favor soon, after she leaves the competition space. Later, facts also proved that her sixth sense was indeed rather accurate. Sure. Just come to Yanlai Empire to find me when you need it. Yan Jun also hoped that he would owe Lu Mu Yen this favor a little longer, so that he could have more time to develop a good relationship with her. Anything else for you? If not, I'm leaving. She had been out for a few days already, and she wondered if Lu Mu Bai and the others would be worried if they found out. Yan Jun pondered and said with a smile, "We're going to find a secret place to cultivate. I wonder if young Miss Lu has any good suggestions?" None. Lu Mu Yen answered decisively. She didn't want to go with the elite pupils of these superpower kingdoms at all. It would be very troublesome to snatch jade tablets with them. Yan Jun touched his nose. It seemed that he was disliked. It sure was the first time that a woman would refuse his closeness. Lu Mu Yen was indeed a special woman. Then let's look for it ourselves. He didn't force it either, but he said, as if remembering something, "Young Miss Lu, can you sell us some of the spiritual recovery pills and the elemental nurturing pills you have? What are you buying it with?" She didn't forget that the man said that he had given her all the spiritual stones he had. A few magic tools appeared in Yan Jun's hand. How about using a saint tool to trade? Lu Mu Yen swept the magic tools in his hand with her gaze. They were all initial phase saint tools, and the attack types weren't too strong. Finally, her eyes fell on a small bell. Is this bell a defense-type saint tool? Indeed. In fact, it can defend and attack. This bell can release a soul attack against a same-stage swordmaster for 3 breaths of time. If it is used well, it will be very useful in battle. It's the saint tool I'm most satisfied with among these saint tools. Yan Jun smiled softly. Lu Mu Yen saw that he looked at these saint tools as if looking at his own children, and she knew in her heart that these saint tools were refined by him. He was truly worthy to be the young lord of a first-rate smithing clan. Chapter 260. The inexhaustible resource treasury. Lu Mu Yen took Yan Jun's little bell in her hand and played with it. She found that an array was added to it. So it turned out that the so-called soul attack was caused by the array. She discovered that Tianling continent used arrays in many areas, and it was even more perfected than the immortal cultivation world, even if there were very few array masters here. You're also an array master? Lu Mu Yen shook the bell and looked at Yan Jun with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Yan Jun knew that she wasn't interested in the other magic tools, so he put them away. I know a little. Mo Ling is the master of arrays. This soul-attacking array being integrated into this defense-type bell sure is interesting. She said with a light smile. You know how to refine tools? Yan Jun asked in surprise. Lu Mu Yen shook her head. Only know the surface of things. How about this saint tool? To exchange for your pills? Yan Jun asked with a smile. It's all right. How much do you want to trade it for? This little bell wasn't very useful to her, but it could be given to her elder brother as a defense-type magic tool. Yan Jun thought about it and said, how about 5 of the spiritual recovery pills and the elemental nurturing pill each? The value of magic tools and pills varied from person to person, and it wasn't a loss to exchange 10 grade 3 pills for a defense-type saint tool that could also attack. Deal. Lu Mu Yen took out 2 white porcelain bottles and tossed them to Yan Jun. She had refined a lot of pills earlier. Seeing her so straightforward, Yan Jun couldn't resist but ask, Young Miss Lu, just how many grade 3 pills did you refine? This sentence also implied a slight test. If Lu Mu Yen answered directly, then it meant that these pills were indeed refined by her. Have I told you that I refine these pills? After I give you 10 pills, I don't have much left either. Lu Mu Yen shrugged and said casually. Yen Jun wanted to trick her for her words, but as if she would be fooled. Then that's really a pity. Yen Jun hooked his lips into a devilish smile. Young Miss Lu can find me if you want to exchange pills for spiritual stones or magic tools whenever in the future. Our Yen clan still has this resource. Sure. Then I'll go first, see you in the finals. Lu Mu Yen said as she looked at the color of the sky. When Yen Jun still had a heart disease, he could still advance to second place in the preliminary round. Now that his heart disease had been cured, then after advancing to Sword Sovereign in the next month or two, there was no suspense at all whether he would enter the finals or not. Alright, when the finals are over, I'll go back to the Empire and give you the remaining spiritual stones. Seeing that Lu Mu Yen was so confident, Yen Jun knew that she had the means, and it wasn't difficult for her to advance into the finals. It's a promise. I'll take my leave. Lu Mu Yen chuckled lightly, then disappeared at the entrance of the cave after using flash steps. Seeing her leave, the mature and composed man behind Yen Jun said, "She seems to be so sure that she can advance into the finals. It's not that easy to compete for the purple jade tablets." Yeah. As far as I know, many people had set their minds on her and Chu Han. After all, they were also rewarded with purple jade tablets after entering the top 10. Another man said. Yen Jun hooked his lips into a wicked smile. Maybe she would rather they come to snatch hers. We'll just have to wait and watch a good show. Lu Mu Yen, this woman, hid herself very deeply that even he couldn't understand her. He sure was looking forward to meeting her in the finals. He believed she would definitely give people constant surprises. Hopefully. Because Lu Mu Yen cured Yen Jun, the others had a better impression of her. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. When Lu Mu Yen returned to the cave, Lu Mu Bai and the several others all withdrew from cultivation, and was relieved to see her return. Yena. This is a Class 2 danger zone. If you go out and run around and encounter a Tier 7 demonic beast, then it'll be dangerous. Lu Mu Bai said with slight worry. With a thought, the Tier 7 mystic striped tiger appeared in the cave. Elder brother, I've already encountered a Tier 7 demonic beast. This is its corpse, so you don't have to worry about me. The several people were stunned when they saw the Tier 7 demonic beast that had no aura on the ground. Lu Mu Yen could actually kill a Tier 7 demonic beast. This kind of progress was beyond their reach. After more than a month of cultivation, Yiqing Han had already integrated the Yi clan's secret skill and broken through to Sword Sovereign. He stared at the demonic beast on the ground with an obscure gaze, not feeling the best. He'd just thought that he was able to protect her, but she still surpassed him. He took a deep breath. He still needed to work hard. The results of your cultivations in this period of time sure is good. You've all made breakthroughs. Lu Mu Yen swept the few people with her gaze and said with a smile. Yun Zimo's cold and stiff face softened a lot, with gratitude in his tone. It's all because the effects of your pills were good, that's why we can advance so quickly. Lu Mu Yen gave them 10 elemental nurturing pills each before their seclusion, making them utterly stunned, and at the same time, their cultivation bases were also firmly consolidated and promoted. He had a good feeling about Lu Mu Yen, but he knew that such a woman wasn't someone he could control at all, and it would be difficult even to stand shoulder to shoulder with. Her achievements wouldn't be limited to the eastern region. After this time's Tianling Continental Tournament for Hegemony was over, she would definitely have a broader space to display her abilities. He could only silently hide his feelings for her. Wishing her well was enough. Alright, stop being so humble. Are you going to all continue to remain in seclusion, or are we going to go compete for jade tablets? Lu Mu Yen asked with a light smile. Let's remain in seclusion a little longer to improve our cultivation base a little more. It'll still be hard to meet sword masters from other kingdoms even if we go out now. Yun Zimo replied. The sword masters from other kingdoms who entered the semifinals were basically all lurking in cultivation in the first 3 months. It was a waste of time for them to go out, and it was better to improve their cultivation now quickly, then contend for a place in the chaotic battle in another 2 months. Lu Mu Yen nodded. Your choice is right. Mu Yen, what are your plans? Yi Qinghan just felt that she wouldn't obediently cultivate in the cave until 2 months later. Although this area is dangerous, but there are quite a lot of spiritual herbs and spiritual items. I want to go find them while cultivating. I'm used to cultivating in battle so that I can also advance. Lu Mu Yen added with a smile. While you're all cultivating, you can also go to nearby places to challenge some demonic beasts that are higher in cultivation base than your own. This won't only improve your cultivation base faster, but also give you stronger combat experience. Alright. What she said was what they were thinking too, but if they went with her, they would only be holding her back, so they could only let her act alone. Lu Mu Yen and the several people chatted for a while, then began to go into seclusion again. She took 10 elemental nurturing pills and advanced her cultivation base to advanced phase Sword Monarch before she began to stabilize it. A month later, she left the cave. Owner, are we going to challenge some tier 7 demonic beasts in the mountains? Bing Ji appeared excited. The crystal core of the tigress was refined into a pill by Lu Mu Yen. After he took it, the demonic energy in his body grew much denser. If he got more crystal cores of tier 7 demonic beasts to refine into pills, he believed that after the seal was broken, he could advance to peak phase tier 8. Miao Miao and Shui were also looking forward to it. Their cultivation speed was astonishingly fast with the help of pills, and also wanted to try to battle tier 7 demonic beasts. Miao Miao was now in late phase tier 6 and Shui also broke through to peak phase tier 6. As long as he consumed the blood essence of 2 tier 7 demonic beasts, he could advance. This was also one of the reasons why Lu Mu Yen acted now. Of course, this is our inexhaustible resource treasury, and below is our battlefield. A brisk smile flashed past Lu Mu Yen's eyes, and with a flash she entered the depths of the forest. Chapter 261. The mantis stalks the cicada. Unaware of the oriole behind in the following month, Lu Mu Yen took her spirit pets to challenge tier 7 demonic beasts territories, successfully attracting the attention of the king of the forested mountains. In the class 2 danger zone, under an abyss filled with a black aura, and in an underground demon's cave with abundant spiritual force, there was a cyan-bearded old man sitting, with a man and a woman standing below. King, recently a human woman in the forest has killed no less than 10 of our tier 7 demon cultivators. The woman with some slender red snakes coiled atop her head spoke first, revealing great respect to the old man on the seat. The cyan-bearded old man looked calm, raised his head and asked, "What is the strength of the dead tier 7 demon cultivators? And what cultivation base is that human woman?" Reporting to King. All those who died were demon cultivators at initial phase tier 7. According to the investigation, the woman was only an advanced phase sword monarch. The woman's face was a bit grim. Those trash were truly shameful. The skinny man beside her had a grave look in his eyes. She should be the human sword master who used arrays to trap and kill demonic beasts. Lu Mu Yan's reputation had long passed into the ears of many demon cultivators, and she was most famous for her array that trapped beasts. It doesn't matter if she is that person or not. Since she dared provoke us on our mountain, she naturally couldn't be let out alive. The woman snorted coldly. The skinny man said nothing and looked directly at the old man above. The old man stroked his cyan beard and smiled lightly. Let her keep messing about. We'll settle all the accounts together during the Great Decisive War. Monarch had told them long ago that they were not allowed to kill the genius sword master of the humans in person before the Great Decisive War. Since the human female sword master could kill initial phase tier 7 demon cultivators, even if he sent out peak phase tier 7 demon cultivators, she could still escape even if she couldn't defeat them, so why bother? If she accidentally killed a few late phase tier 7 demon cultivators, then their class 2 danger zone would fall behind during the Great Decisive War. King, then do we just forget about it? The woman obviously didn't want to be passive about this. Don't mention this again. As long as she doesn't take the initiative to provoke you, then you're not allowed to act. The cyan-bearded old man's eyes turned cold and warned. The woman took a deep breath, then muttered beneath her breath, "Yes." She really couldn't figure out why they wanted to let the human sword cultivator go. The Tier 7 demon cultivators who were killed were all fools. At this time, she desperately hoped that the woman would take the initiative to provoke her. After leaving the demon's cave, the skinny man said to the woman before leaving, "For now, let's concentrate on cultivating and wait for the great decisive war between humans and demons this time." "Humph, you don't have to pretend to be kind." The woman turned her head away and ignored him. The man shook his head speechlessly, then disappeared into the sky in a flash. The more the woman thought about it, the more it annoyed her. Her eyes were grim, and she finally turned into a red light and went in Lu Muyan's direction. She just didn't like a human, female cultivator being arrogant on their territory. At this time, Lu Muyan and Bing Ji, who had transformed into his original form, were guarding outside a bush, waiting for Shui to advance. After swallowing the blood of a few Tier 7 demonic beasts, Shui finally broke through the shackles of Tier 6 and entered Tier 7. Waves after waves of spiritual energy surged and gathered, preparing for the advancement. The woman felt the fluctuations of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and accelerated her speed. After an hour, Shui's body was completely tempered, his roots were countless times larger, and the golden color of the main branch was even purer. "Owner, I succeeded," Shui said excitedly, speaking human words. "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks, demonic plants and demonic beasts were different, as they could only speak the human language at Tier 7, but couldn't transform into a human form. Only when he reached Tier 8 could he transform into a human form, which fully reflected the difficulty of cultivating for demonic plants. "Not bad. You can also take the pills I made before too." Lu Muyan smiled in a rather good mood. The pills she had previously refined with the crystal cores of Tier 7 demonic beasts were only suitable for demonic beasts above Tier 6, otherwise the violent energy would be detrimental to their body, so neither Miao Miao nor Shui could take it. "Humph humph. It'll be entering Tier 7 soon too." Miao Miao stuck out a small head and said determinedly. Now she had the lowest cultivation base among all the spirit pets. She didn't want to be the bottom at all. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. "Little guy, your cultivation speed is already heaven-defying, all right?" The little white Jiao's cultivation speed was the fastest he had ever seen. How long had it been since she followed owner, and she had already advanced from Tier 2 to late phase Tier 6. If this news was spread, how could the other demonic beasts live hearing that? Even he was jealous and envious, yet who would have thought that this little thing would still not be satisfied? Sure enough, as the owner was abnormally monstrous, none of the spirit pets who followed her were useless either. He secretly decided that he couldn't be too bad either, and wouldn't be lazy in the future. Miao Miao will advance very soon. Isn't there a ready-made resource sending themselves to our door? Lu Muyan sneered and looked at the sky in the distance. As expected, a moment after her voice fell, a red light dashed over and fell in front of them, turning into an exceptionally enchanting woman. Shi Ji scrutinized the purple-clothed woman opposite with disdain in her eyes. "You're that human sword master who keeps slaying Tier 7 demon cultivators in our forest? So what if I am?" Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow with her arms folded. The demon cultivator opposite was a late-phase demon cultivator of the snake race, which was a bit tricky, but they were still sure to win. It just so happened that Miao Miao needed a Tier 7 snake race crystal core to assist in her advancement, and this demon cultivator came at just the right time. What arrogance! Today, I'll toss you into a snake nest to taste the feeling of 10,000 snakes eating your heart. Shi Ji snorted coldly. A beautiful smile bloomed on Lu Muyan's stunning face, as if a lovely poppy that carried poison in its beauty. "I sure want to try it." Shi Ji's eyes grew cold, and she took the lead in launching the attack. Her mouth moved, and one only heard chi-chi sounds. Then countless red snakes quickly slithered out of the mountains and slithered towards Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan swept the snakes on the ground casually with her eyes, then with a thought, a wall of fire suddenly rose from all sides and engulfed the little snakes that came flying over. Shi Ji was stunned for a moment. She obviously underestimated Lu Muyan's strength. The coldness and killing intent in her eyes grew stronger and stronger. She turned into a giant red snake with a pure red body and flew over. Her snake eyes looked at Lu Muyen insidiously. "You're lucky that you can make me reveal my true form to kill you." Lu Muyen smiled in amusement. "I don't know why you think so highly of yourself. Revealing your true form to kill me, do I have to thank you for that?" "Humph." Shiji didn't say much and swept her tail violently and heavily down at Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen flew out of the way, and 10 golden swords rose into the air, turning into a golden arc, slashing towards the tail of the snake. Shiji was a late-phase Tier 7 demonic beast after all. Although her body was huge, but it was extremely flexible. She avoided the sword arc and opened her mouth, biting towards Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen stepped on the golden swords, and her hands were covered with a layer of light red before throwing out punches. The fighting intent in her body was aroused. At the same time, a group of people not far away were rushing towards the direction they were fighting. "Master, the snake we were looking for is fighting with a human sword master," one of them said excitedly. The lips of the handsome black-clothed man in front raised in an arc. "No hurry. We'll be that Oriole today." Chapter 262, Jixian. There being an unfamiliar aura approaching, both Lu Muyen and Shiji had discovered it, but it was impossible for them to join forces. They could only kill each other as soon as possible and wait to see what the hidden person wanted to do. Lu Muyen originally wanted the newly promoted Xue to fight against Shiji to train his combat ability, but she dismissed the idea after discovering the group of hidden people. Shiji was strong. If she didn't play her trump cards, then she could only barely tie with her. She had the ability to skip stage battle, but unfortunately, not only was the opponent's bloodline pretty good, but she was also late-phase Tier 7. It wouldn't be easy to kill. "Owner, let us join the battle and make it quick." Bing Ji swept the position of the team with a chill in his eyes. Lu Muyen nodded. "Then let's gang up." In the battle earlier, she already found the feeling and skills of fighting with late-phase Tier 7 demonic beasts, so she didn't need to continue. It was only right to save some energy to deal with the few lurking human sword masters. The eyes Bing Ji looked at Shiji with were as if she had already become a pill. He spread his wings and flew high, waving his wings to continue to form and shoot endless ice arrows with boundless ice element attribute. Miao Miao was also not to be outdone. She flew out from Lu Muyen's wrist and turned into a huge, purely white python, opened her mouth, and a mist that could slow down movement sprayed out. Shiji was startled. She obviously didn't expect that Lu Muyen's 2 Tier 6 spirit pets abilities weren't inferior to initial phase Tier 7 demon cultivators. She glared and said, "You are such a shameless human. If you have the ability, then fight me one-on-one." She could only tie if she fought against this human woman alone, and she completely underestimated the strength of her opponent. Now that the opponent's spirit pets were constantly attacking, she was miserable, only hoping that her words would be useful. Lu Muyen chuckled and said sarcastically, "You're an idiot, aren't you? Spirit pets are also a part of my strength. I'll only be a fool if I slowly mess with you." While she spoke, the movements of her hands didn't stop. 10 golden flying swords quickly formed an 8-trigram sword array and surrounded Shiji, slowing her dodging speed and narrowing her range of movements. Soon, Shiji, who couldn't escape and inhaled the poisonous gas from Miao Miao, was shot by the ice arrows of Bing Ji, and countless bloody holes caused the pure red snake scales to fall. Shiji shrieked. She opened her mouth and a venom with a strange fragrance burst towards Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen was not only not afraid, but her eyes were instead filled with joy. She didn't expect that the venom sac of this snake demon was mutated. She had big use for it. She didn't greet the venom. A red fire lotus with a trace of purple gold fell from her hand, and after spinning a few times, it absorbed and swallowed all the venom. As the venom was swallowed, the fire lotus exuded a nice fragrance and gradually disappeared in the air. Shiji's eyes revealed horror. Because of the close-quarters combat and her sensitivity to spirit flames, she obviously discovered that there was a trace of spirit flames hidden in the fire lotus condensed from elemental energy. Her venom sac was her trump card and ultimate move, but she had a single nemesis, and that was Spirit Flame. Just you wait, you'll definitely be killed in this space during the Great Decisive War. Shiji said viciously, then her huge body shrank bit by bit into a red snake with the thickness of a finger and flew away in the opposite direction, clearly trying to escape. There's no need to make it during some sort of Great Decisive War. Today it'll end you. Lu Mu Yen wouldn't do anything like returning a tiger back into the mountains. A glint flashed past her eyes and 10 flying swords turned into a golden stream of light, darting out instantly, as if they had been prepared for a long time, and slashed straight towards the weak point of the little snake. Shiji was shocked and barely avoided the stream of light, but her weak spot was also sliced open around a third into her skin. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, but she had no intention of continuing to fight, and she had even less desire to take revenge for the scratch. She just wanted to flee quickly and go back to find backup. Even if she couldn't kill Lu Mu Yen this time, during the Great Decisive War, she definitely would kidnap her into a snake nest to be devoured by tens of thousands of snakes. Insidious hatred rose in her heart, while Lu Mu Yen wouldn't let her leave even more. A wall of flames erupted from before Shiji and perfectly blocked her way. Shiji gritted her teeth. Seeing that there was no spirit flame she feared in the wall of fire, she wrapped her entire body with demonic energy and wanted to dash straight through the firewall. At this moment, Bing Ji, who was ready to act, opened his beak and a dark blue beam of light shot out of his mouth, aimed directly at Shiji, who was about to dash through the wall of fire. Shiji hated inwardly and used a secret skill to strengthen the hardness of her scales. She originally thought that after passing through the firewall, she could escape, but never thought that the blue beam of light would actually pass through the weak spot through her back. Her shrunken body suddenly grew larger and slammed heavily onto the wall of fire, making a sizzle sound from being burned by the elemental energy flames. Then a golden sword light shot out from underground right when she was about to escape using her last trump card and sliced her snake head down. In an instant, Shiji stared with wide eyes, and her snake body and snake's head separated as her aura gradually disappeared. Before she died, there was only one thought in her mind. Why didn't she listen to the advice before she came? Otherwise she wouldn't have given her life in vain. But unfortunately, it was too late. As soon as Shiji died, Lu Mu Yen used her flash steps and dashed over. At the same time, a figure also sprang towards the direction of the giant snake. Clang! Then only a loud sound of weapons meeting each other was heard. The two figures stopped over Shiji's body, each holding a long sword. Obviously, the loud noise just now was the sound left by the two when they fought. Your Honor wants to snatch my prey? Lu Mu Yen was expressionless, looking at the suddenly appearing black-clothed man with coldness in her eyes. The man opposite was tall, handsome, and had a noble aura. Most importantly, he looked somewhat similar to Ji Yu, and Lu Mu Yen could guess who he was at a glance. Ji Xian stood in the air, like a sword that was about to be unsheathed, temporarily restraining his sharpness. Miss is over-anxious. This one merely wants to make a deal with you. Is this how you do business with someone? Lu Mu Yen sneered, her voice cold. What? Your mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind plan failed. So now you want a force to sell, powerful to buy? This one just wanted to stop you from taking the snake demon and make a deal with you peacefully, with no intention to force a deal. Ji Xian discovered when he was watching just now that this stunning, purple-clothed woman's cultivation base wasn't that high, but she wasn't good to mess with. Even if he had any thoughts of seizing it by force at first, when Shiji died, he had dismissed those thoughts completely. How do you know that I will agree to do business with you? Lu Mu Yen said lightly, folding her arms. Ji Xian's handsome face revealed an obscure smile, and instead of answering he asked, I wonder if Miss' name is Lu Mu Yen? Since you know, why ask? Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow, and her attitude was neither good nor bad. Although the opponent's elder brother and his elite team didn't die directly in her hands, but she also caused their deaths, so it was normal for Ji Xian to recognize her. I was merely uncertain. I didn't expect you to really be Lu Mu Yen. Ji Xian saw her use the firewall array with ease, plus the 10 famous golden sword array, so he guessed that she was the one who killed his scheming eldest brother and was also one of the hot dark horses in the continental tournament for hegemony, Lu Muyen. Chapter 263. Business. Lu Muyen observed that there was no hatred in Ji Xian's expression and his gestures were as calm as if nothing happened, without even a trace of killing intent, so she had a guess. "Do you want to avenge Ji Yu?" she asked, sounding him out. Ji Xian's originally waveless eyes revealed some ridicule. "He's worthy?" Ji Yu's mother secretly killed his empress mother, and Ji Yu had been plotting to kill him since he was a child. If it weren't for the great opportunities and luck, he would have died in one of the countless assassinations. How could he possibly avenge that person? He only pitied that he didn't personally finish Ji Yu. As expected, you two brothers are at odds as rumored. Although Ji Xian hid it well, but Lu Muyen still caught the sliver of hatred in his eyes. Ji Yu's temperament was grim and ruthless, and he was relatively narrow-minded. He must have made things difficult for, or framed, Ji Xian numerous times. Otherwise this man with the same deep scheming wouldn't reveal such hatred. Ji Xian didn't care what Lu Muyen thought of the feelings between them two brothers and said bluntly, "I actually want to thank young Miss Lu for killing him." "You're welcome. I also think he's not pleasing to the eye." If Ji Yu was compared to Ji Xian, she would indeed be more disgusted with Ji Yu. Ji Xian in front of her made her feel a little harder to see through, and she didn't feel much dislike in her heart towards him, but she wouldn't underestimate him, still cautious of him acting against her. This man definitely already turned black one. Young Miss Lu sure is an interesting person. Ji Xian found that Lu Muyen wasn't like any of the women he had ever known, neither cold nor tender, nor cruel or arrogant or imperious. In short, she made him unable to see through her. Lu Muyen swept the few people who walked out of the woods behind with her gaze, then looked at Ji Xian deeply and asked, "Just tell me what business you want to do." She discovered that the several people exuded a feeling as if they were searching for this Tier 7 snake demon for a while, and she wanted to know if they had the thought of killing her and snatching the treasure. Young Miss Lu is indeed a refreshing person, Ji Xian said with admiration in his eyes, then went straight to the point. "I want the snake's gallbladder. If young Miss Lu could severe your love, I am willing to pay a sum of spiritual stones, and other things too, as long as I have them." "Can I ask why you want the snake's gallbladder?" Lu Muyen asked. She didn't have the thought that she must have the snake's gallbladder. She had planned to use it to make wine, but she didn't quite like the bitter taste. "My master is a spiritual wine master. Before entering the competition space, he ordered me to collect snake gallbladder of high-level demon snakes. It was only because we found the trace of this Shiji did we enter here." Ji Xian said with a light smile. It was just that they never thought that Lu Muyen would arrive first. Lu Muyen raised her eyes and looked at him with a smile that wasn't quite a smile, saying, "So that's how it is. I'm not interested in it either. How many spiritual stones will you give?" Ji Xian was at Sword's Sovereign Cultivation Base, and there was also another member at Sword's Sovereign Cultivation Base in the team. The rest were all peak phase Sword Monarch, so if they really fought, then it'd definitely be more difficult than dealing with Shiji. She considered the snake gallbladder dispensable. As long as these people didn't want the crystal core and venom sac, then it was fine for her to take a step back. How about 10,000 spiritual stones? Ji Xian knew there was a possibility of obtaining it after hearing her say that. Although Lu Muyen was only alone, but, although the spirit pets around her were all Tier 6, they all possessed Tier 7 combat strength. It was said that there was even a blood-sucking spirit pet that had not appeared yet. Taking it by force was the very last resort. It was nothing if it could be exchanged for money. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. 20,000 spiritual stones. Take it if you want it, or if you don't, then I won't be accompanying you any further. If one could make a fortune, then it was a fortune made. The auction in the central area was about to be held, and she doubled the price because she also wanted to show that she wasn't soft, only too lazy to fight them. Don't be insatiable, 10,000 spiritual stones is already our master giving you some face. A man behind Ji Xian looked at Lu Muyen angrily and said, Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. What qualifications did an advanced stage sword monarch have to bargain with their master? If it weren't that she killed Jiyu, and there were even the spirit pets by her side, then they would have already fought. Jiyu furrowed his brows slightly and used his gaze to stop the other people who wanted to say more. Sure enough, as he thought, Lu Mu Yen snorted coldly and was about to collect the snake on the ground, looking as if she was saying that she didn't care whether they wanted it or not, what would they do about it, and that if they wanted to fight, then they'd fight. Young Miss Lu, do you think this snake gallbladder is worth 20,000 spiritual stones? Ji Xian said with a smile, his expression unchanged. Lu Mu Yen found that his self-restraint was indeed much stronger than Jiyu. Isn't it worth it? This snake gallbladder isn't an ordinary snake gallbladder, but a gallbladder derived from a snake whose internal organs have mutated. If it's used to make spiritual wine, then its effect would be equivalent to that of a Tier 8 demon snake's gallbladder. Can I take a look? Ji's eyes flashed with surprise. Lu Mu Yen hadn't even seen the snake's gallbladder, so how did she know it was mutated? Sure. Aside from the venom sac and the crystal core, the internal organs of this snake can also be given to you as a gift, but it cannot be a cent less than 20,000 spiritual stones. Lu Mu Yen said generously. The corners of Ji Xian's lips twitched. What did he want those internal organs for? She said it as if she were so generous. After seeing that Lu Mu Yen used the flying sword to take the crystal core and venom sac from the giant snake and put it away first, he used his long sword to open the snake's belly and picked out the snake's gallbladder for a closer look. He was also a spiritual wine master himself and had followed his master to make wine with snake's gallbladder all year round. He recognized at a glance that this was a mutant snake's gallbladder, and he couldn't help but think more highly of Lu Mu Yen. Young Miss Lu is also a spiritual wine master? He looked up and asked, Is whether I'm a spiritual wine master or not related to our transaction? Lu Mu Yen replied with a smile. Ji Xian lowered his head and smiled. This woman sure was very wary of him. Sure. 20,000 spiritual stones, deal. I want the snake's gallbladder and these internal organs. The internal organs of snakes can also be soaked in wine, but its effect just wasn't as good as that of snake gallbladder. However, these internal organs were all mutated, so the effect should be better than that of Tier 6 demon snake's gallbladders. He was also somewhat interested in the snake's venom sac, but it could be seen from Lu Mu Yan's appearance that she paid more attention to the crystal core and the venom sac, so he gave up. Lu Mu Yan nodded. Then you can take it all, but the body of this snake won't be given to you. After taking this snake's scales back and ask a leather armor master to refine it into a defense-type leather armor, it could arm her family in the Lu clan, so she naturally wouldn't give it to Ji Xian. Ji Xian looked at her in amusement and said, Don't worry, I'm not interested in the snake body. Although the snake scales were good for refining, but he didn't want to fight with Lu Mu Yen because of something that he didn't need to have, just for the fact that she thought Jiyu wasn't pleasing to the eye and killed him, so he treated her with a good feeling. Then he immediately put 20,000 spiritual stones in an interspatial bag and tossed it to Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Yen took the interspatial bag but didn't check it, and just put it away. She had already swept over its contents with her mental energy, so she wasn't worried that he would deceive her. Seeing that Ji Xian had taken away the internal organs and snake gallbladder, she also put the corpse of the giant snake into her interspatial ring. Prince Ji is also a refreshing person. I'll look for you if I have any business to do in the future. I'll leave first as I have some things to do. Lu Mu Yen didn't want to stay here any longer. Ji Xian's expression was sincere. All right. Hope to see you later. After Lu Mu Yan's figure and aura completely disappeared in this section of the forest, the man behind Ji Xian who had spoken before asked, Master, are we just going to let her go like this? One became evil, or at least not ethically or morally right. Chapter 264. Guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it. Seeing Lu Mu Yen leaving safely, the rest of the team were rather surprised as to why Ji Xian let her go so easily. This was not his style of doing things at all. Ji Xian glanced at the person who opened his mouth and said, her strength isn't as simple as it seems. Her demonic plant who can suck human blood had already been lying in ambush not far from us, and it will definitely be us who will suffer if we fight. She really has a demonic beast that can suck blood essence? Another member from a distinguished clan asked in surprise. Lu Muyan's reputation had gradually grown in the competition space, one because her points soared in the preliminary round and eventually entered the top 10, and two, because her talent in arrays was excelling, being able to trap demonic beasts and be unafraid of beast tides. And even after the preliminary round, news of her had never ended. Many people had spread rumors that she had a demonic beast that sucked blood essence. After all, each time a beast tide was annihilated, all the corpses of demonic beasts were presented to have had their blood dried. Although they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, but everyone all speculated such. But they were all dubious. After all, rumors were often not all true. It's not a demonic beast, it's a demonic plant. Ji Xian's deep eyes revealed a strange look, and if I judged correctly, her demonic plant just broke through from Tier 6 to Tier 7. What? The people behind Ji Xian couldn't help but exclaim. They knew about the fourth prince's shrewdness and abilities. If he didn't have confidence in something, he wouldn't say it easily. Demonic plants cultivation was 100 times more difficult. That's why at the same level, a demonic plant's strength was much stronger than that of demonic beasts. Demonic plant spirit pets were extremely rare on Tianling continent, and Tier 7 ones were even unheard of. They really didn't expect that a woman with only sword monarch cultivation base to have such a spirit pet. Ji Xian glanced at them and smiled lightly, saying, "And you may have all overlooked a more important issue. She has at least 3 spirit pets. What does this mean? Could she be a spirit beast master?" A team member blurted. On Tianling continent, a sword master who wasn't a spirit beast master could only contract 2 spirit pets at most with the help of a spirit beast master. Even strong sword venerable powerhouses and above were no exception. Therefore, Lu Muyan, who had 3 spirit pets, must be a spirit beast master. Ji Xian's expression was obscure and said leisurely, "She has excelling talent in arrays, and is also a spirit beast master. If we don't kill her, then that's that, but if we kill, then it was necessary to end her life completely, otherwise there will be endless troubles. We simply don't have the confidence to take her life today, so it would be better to befriend her than to forge grudges. Only such would be a good deal." Then he added. He also suspected that she was a spiritual wine master, and even if she wasn't, she still knew about brewing spiritual wine very well, otherwise she wouldn't know the brewed effects of mutant snake gallbladder and internal organs. Fourth Prince is indeed wise. That pupil of a distinguished clan wasn't a fool either. They had no grudges or grievances against Lu Muyan, so why would they forge a feud with her? Even Ji Yu, that powerful hypocrite, was defeated by her. They really couldn't only look at the appearance of her cultivation base. Ji Xian smiled without care, turned around, and walked towards the depths of the forest. "Let's look for the other Tier 7 snake demon from the intel." Yes. If Lu Muyan heard the conversation between Ji Xian and the several people, she would be extremely surprised. After all, Shui was well hidden and there wasn't any aura revealed at all. Unless one was a powerhouse above Sword Venerable, then they wouldn't be able to detect anything. Ji Xian was only at Sword's sovereign cultivation base, so him being able to find the human-eating blood thorn vine king meant he definitely met with some fortuitous opportunity or had a special ability. At the same time, a cave in the depths of the abyss, a skinny man who was sitting cross-legged and cultivating suddenly opened his eyes. He took out a red scale from within his pockets at his chest. "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks, the originally lustrous scale suddenly dimmed and the demonic energy on it was instantly lost. With a vicious look in his eyes, he muttered to himself, "Little sister is dead." That human woman really dared to kill Shiji. When the great decisive war began, he must drag out her soul to pay homage to little sister. Lu Muyan didn't know that she was now a target of a snake demon at peak phase Tier 7. Even if she knew, she would simply hope impatiently for the snake demon to come quicker. The more crystal cores of snake demons for Meow Meow to promote herself, the better. After returning to the temporary cave that was opened up, Lu Mu Yen took out the crystal core of the Tier 7 demonic beast to refine into a Grade 4 pill that would be beneficial to the advancement of a demonic beast's cultivation base. Only when her fire elemental energy reached peak phase Sword Monarch could she refine Grade 4 pills, but if she used the purple gold spirit flame, and with her rich experience, she could still refine a Grade 4 pill now. First, she didn't take out the crystal core of the snake demon to refine, but instead took the crystal cores she obtained previously, and after failing once, she successfully refined it. Miao Miao also used the special effects of the pill to reach peak phase Tier 6. As long as she took the pill refined from the snake crystal core, at an opportune moment, she could advance to Tier 7. Time passed in the mountains quickly while cultivating. Although Lu Mu Yen was still thinking about the Scarlet Bee nest, but she also felt that it wasn't time to go get it, so she could only temporarily give up. After cultivating in the mountains for more than 3 months, the cultivation bases of the two teams had all improved a lot. Lu Mu Bai and Yun Zmo had successfully reached peak phase Sword Monarch using their talents and the pills given by Lu Mu Yen. They could surely return to the Empire after the competition with Sword's sovereign cultivation bases. Let's hatch a plan to snatch the Identity Jade tablets, Lu Mu Yen suggested. Yi Qinghan smiled and asked, "Let's hear your plan." Since she said that, then she must have a plan in her mind. We don't have to go find sword masters from other kingdoms to snatch it all. Let's guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it one. Lu Mu Yen replied. Yun Zmo was silent, then asked, "How do we guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it?" After I advanced into the top 10 in the preliminary round, I'm rewarded with various colored jade tablets. Many people from the elite teams of superpower kingdoms and large kingdoms would be unreconciled, so they would definitely take the initiative to find me and snatch my jade tablets, depriving me of my qualifications to enter the finals. Well, spread the news that I'm at a certain place somewhere, and it'll naturally bring people to come. And our two teams only represent a small kingdom and medium kingdom, plus our overall cultivation bases don't seem to be very high. So when we encounter sword masters from large kingdoms, they will definitely act first, so we'll just fight back. Most importantly, the red jade tablets in our hands are even rarer than the purple jade tablets. If we want to enter the finals, we must hold 7 kinds of jade tablets. They'll attack us even simply because they have to. Lu Mu Yen spoke her thoughts. She was certain that each time they released news at a different location, there would definitely be people who would take the initiative to deliver themselves to their door. That's a good idea. The others' eyes lit up. The people who entered the semifinals were basically all sword masters from large kingdoms and superpowers kingdoms, with very few from small and medium-sized kingdoms. After the semifinals, these people from small kingdoms were also the first targets for sword masters from large kingdoms to clear out of the competition for the red jade tablets. They believed that at this time, countless people had already started plotting against them. After all, there was little porridge and many people. There were not even 500 people holding red jade tablets, and the organizer will use various methods to make up for the shortage of jade tablets, such as the top 10 in the preliminary round being rewarded with 50 jade tablets each. So although the quota for the finals was 500, but there may not be 500 people entering the finals. The several people discussed countermeasures in detail, then left the mountain together to set up camp near the central city, guarding a stump and waiting for hares to bump into it. An idiom meaning to trust luck or wait idly for opportunities to appear themselves, but is often used to teach a lesson as it is derived from an ancient story, basically saying that one cannot just trust in luck or wait idly. When it's used, it's also often used when a person has hatched a plan beforehand, so it sounds as if one is saying to wait idly and trust luck, but the person, in fact, has already hatched a plan to make chance and luck on their side, if that makes sense XD. I could be wrong in the latter half, since my only exposure to the idiom is through drama and novels. Chapter 265. Initial results. Lu Mu Yen and the others cultivated in a canyon near the central city, waiting for the fish to be hooked on the bait. Sure enough, after the spread of information from scheming people, their news quickly spread to the ears of the elite teams of various kingdoms. Leader, we've already received news about Lu Mu Yen. Is the news reliable? Absolutely reliable. She and the 2 teams from small kingdoms are staying in Reed Wind Grand Canyon. Go and assemble the people to set off quickly, better not let others snatch the jade tablets first. Yes. Such conversations resounded in various places within and outside the city. In the private room of Stream Reflection Restaurant, Luo Li repeated the news he had obtained to the rest, then looked at Luo Yi with a slightly worried look. Elder brother, so many people want Lu Mu Yan's jade tablets. Why don't we also go to the Grand Canyon to help her? Si Nan's team had just returned from outside the city, and they came to the restaurant together after meeting Luo Li. There was also worry in his eyes. No need. If we go, we'll only cause trouble. Luo Yi said lightly, playing with the moonlight cup in his hand. Luo Li furrowed his brows. How could it be causing trouble? She purposefully lured those people there. If we go and scare them away, you better be careful not to get beaten by her. Luo Yi said slowly. Luo Li was startled for a moment, then the corners of his lips twitched. If he really ruined that woman's plans, then he might really be beaten. Elder brother, you mean that she deliberately lured those people there? Why did she do this? Luo Li asked. Si Nan looked at him with a you're an idiot gaze. Lu Mu Yen, that little fox, definitely wants to lead those people to come to her door to send her their jade tablets. After listening to Luo Ye's words, he also understood. With Lu Mu Yan's intelligence, how was it possible for everyone to know where she was hiding? He couldn't think of any other purpose other than to snatch jade tablets. Luo Yi reached out his hand and patted his younger brother's shoulder. You're confused in your worry. Lu Mu Yen had so many different colored jade tablets in her hands. Those people of the elite teams from large and middle kingdoms didn't dare provoke them, but they dared to snatch her. Even if those people realized that she was releasing the news on purpose, they still wouldn't give up the idea of robbing her. Then why don't we go and take a look? If there are too many people, we can go snatch some along the way. Luo Li and Lu Mu Yen had been separated for several months already, and a feeling of longing that he had never felt before rose in his heart. Luo Yi sighed. Younger brother was really sinking in deeper and deeper. All right, as you like. Si Nan also wanted to see what tricks Lu Mu Yen wanted to play, so he decided to follow them secretly. Helian Lai, Yen Jun and Mo Ling also shared the same thoughts as them. On that day, Lu Mu Yen and the several others were cultivating when suddenly, an unfamiliar elemental energy fluctuation broke the calm of the canyon. They're here. Lu Mu Yen opened her eyes and said with a smile. Yi Qing Han and the others were also looking forward to this, and it seemed that they were exceptionally eager for it, having long been prepared. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, their plan was very successful. As expected, 2 elite teams from large kingdoms arrived and entered Lu Mu Yan's soul-disorienting array. She had now been promoted to Advanced Phase Sword Monarch. Her spiritual energy was even more dense, and she could also set up Grade 3 arrays to besiege and confuse enemies. Arrays were also divided into grades on this continent, from Grade 1 to Grade 9. Array Masters Grade 4 and above were all targets to win over of various forces in this world, and exceptionally rare. In the soul-disorienting array, those sword masters would lose their senses for an incense stick of time, and in the array, Lu Mu Yen also incorporated Miao Miao's venomous gas, making them move very slowly. Soon the jade tablets of the previous groups of people were easily removed by them, and they hardly used much combat power. Mu Yen, your method of guarding a stump and waiting for hairs to bump into it is very useful. Yi Qing Han said after taking off the jade tablet of the last opponent's sword master. Lu Mu Yen said with a smile, it was they who acted greedy first, we just fought back. They lured those people into the soul-disorienting array, then after they were caught in Miao Miao's venomous gas, they moved slowly, allowing them to enter into the array to snatch jade tablets. However, she didn't intend to kill. After snatching the jade tablets, they didn't hurt or kill anyone, only waiting for them to be automatically teleported out of the competition space, then they continued to lure the second wave of people in. We obtained a lot of jade tablets today. This is indeed much faster than us taking the initiative to attack. Yun Lan said with a smile. Lu Muyen nodded. More people will eventually come too. Inside the central castle, the elders of the 6 major sects couldn't help holding their foreheads when they watched Lu Muyen lure their enemies into the depths of their arrays. How did this girl's brain grow? She could even think of such an idea. Did she get inspiration from when she was besieging the beast tides? This way of guarding a stump and waiting for hares to bump into it is fast, accurate, and ruthless. The elder of the sword sect revealed some admiration in his eyes. The eyes of the strong and sturdy elder of the 8 extremes sect lit up brightly. It's more than good. This was simply too good. If he wasn't mistaken, Lu Muyen arranged a grade 3 array. Such talent would even be comparable to the older pupils who had cultivated arrays for many years from their 8 extreme sect. The other people glanced at the excited 8 extremes sect elder with disdain. Even if he's that excited, she still wouldn't go to their 8 extreme sect. Although they used tricks, but they didn't snatch the interspatial rings of the loser or cause any massacres. Their hearts and temperaments are indeed rare. The medicine sect's elders smiled kindly, and his satisfaction with Lu Muyen's sword. The elder of the beast tamers sect nodded and said, "She is indeed a good seedling." Not only Lu Muyen, but also Yi Qinghan, Lu Mubai and Yun Zmo are very good. He had already chosen Yi Qinghan. If he could reach the top 100, he would let him directly enter as an outer core pupil. Lu Mubai and Yun Zmo had good talents and temperaments, but unfortunately, they didn't have the expertise in taming beasts. But that was fine too. It was only right to net them all in since they're good seedlings. Although the 6 major sects each had one profession that was particularly outstanding, but within their sect, they also had other cultivation options. For example, the beast taming sect also had branch departments in arrays, alchemy, and smithing, among which there were many well-qualified pupils. Yun Zmo's path of the sword is righteous and in line with our sword sect. If he can enter the finals, then we won't be humble and will accept him. The elder of the sword sect said. Hearing him say that, the other elders weren't disapproving. The sword sect liked Yun Zmo, then if Yun Zmo really went, they didn't lose much either, unlike them contending for Lu Muyen. Our heavenly secret palace wants that boy, Lu Mubai. The wise-looking elder from the heavenly secrets palace said with a smile. It was just that the others didn't agree with his words. Lu Mubai was Lu Muyen's elder brother. It might affect Lu Muyen's choice. When the time came, they would definitely have to fight for him, not to mention that Lu Mubei's talent and potential also deserved their attention. Let's see how the dark horse named Chu Han is doing. The elder of the vast mountain sect suggested with a smile of interest. The elders of the other sects also revealed interest. Apart from Lu Muyen this time, Chu Han was also the dark horse they wanted to compete for. The elders of the 6 major sects had already begun to discuss the home of the pupils, while Lu Muyen and the others ushered in a new enemy. Chapter 266. Prepare to gang up on this day. Another wave of people were trapped in Lu Muyen's array. This is the soul disorienting array. The leader of this elite team said cautiously. One of the men furrowed his brows and said, I only saw her fire array before, who would have expected that she would know other arrays? The leader of the team sneered. Since she's extremely talented in arrays, it's naturally impossible for her to only know one type of array. Then what do we do? Fortunately, Luo Yi and the others didn't continue to follow her, otherwise it'd be even more troublesome. The man said irritably. He was the one who proposed to go snatch Lu Muyen's jade tablets. If something went wrong, the second prince would definitely blame him. Lu Muyen stood outside the array, observing the situation in the soul disorienting array. When she saw the person speaking, her eyes narrowed dangerously. It seemed that this elite team from Rongzi Kingdom was being instigated by Luo Qinghe. How could there be no reason to eliminate such a low life when he sent himself to her door? What's the hurry? Don't forget that the second prince is also an array master. The older man behind Luo Qinghe reprimanded. He was extremely disgusted with Luo Qinghe. He was a pupil of a branch of the Luo clan who they spent a lot of resources to support, and he was fortunate enough to follow Luo Yi and Luo Li as a guard, yet he actually rebelled. Who knew what the second prince was thinking to accept such a low life? Luo Qinghe glanced at the man and snorted inwardly. When he's become important to the second prince, this person would be the first person he'd get rid of. The 7 of you, go stand in those positions each. Take this with you. When I say begin, channel your elemental energies together. The second prince handed 7 black stones into the hands of the several people and pointed in several directions as he ordered. Ancient Chinese compass, often used for feng shui-related things in modern day, I think. Yes. The 7 people took the stones and immediately stood where the second prince pointed. The second prince himself held a compass and looked around for a breakthrough point gravely. Only when he entered the array did he discover that it was actually a grade 3 soul disorienting array. Even as a grade 3 array master, he wouldn't be able to arrange it. If it weren't that he had the array breaking talisman from master, he really didn't dare to be careless. Outside the array, Yi Qinghan and the others saw that the several people were different from the others. Not only did they not panic nor run around, but instead they calmly began to break the array. He asked with furrowed brows, Mu Yen, do you think they can break the array you set up? Should be able to. Lu Mu Yen stared at the compass in the second prince's hand. He's holding a high-level array-breaking tool, which should have been bestowed by a senior. He probably also knows other means. He's the second prince of Rongzi Kingdom. His master is a grade 4 array master. Mu said. Lu Mu Yen thought about it and asked, is this second prince at odds with Luo Ye's team? The second prince's wife used to chase after Luo Li frantically. Then her clan forced her to marry for connections to the second prince. Mu Yi paused, then added, I heard that the relationship between the two wasn't good after they got married. The second prince also often finds trouble for Luo Li. It's no longer a secret that when the two meet, they get into a fight. Lu Mu Yen said with amusement, so it turns out that the wild little cat also has women pursue him crazily. The several people's eyelids couldn't resist jumping when they heard how she addressed Luo Li. Luo Li was a well-known little overlord of Rongzi Kingdom. His identity was comparable to a prince of the royal family, and his own talent and strength was also very strong, so he could naturally attract countless women to pursue him. Even the second prince wouldn't dare to give him huge trouble. Only Lu Mu Yen would dare to treat Luo Li like that. Most importantly was that Luo Li obviously had the tendency of a masochist. It was probable that even if Lu Mu Yen beat him, he'd endure it with a smile. Boom boom. Suddenly, a few dark clouds floated over in the sky, and a few lightning bolts landed from above. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, prepare to fight. Seeing that after the second prince took out a red talisman and released it, it attracted thunder and lightning to break the array. Lu Mu Yen knew that the soul disorienting array would soon fail. Those that have spirit pets, release them. We're gonna gang up. Since the last time she beat Shiji using a gang fight, she had fallen in love this crude way. One was a fool if they had spirit pets and didn't use them. After speaking, she released Miao Miao and Bing Ji to turn into their original forms and wait, while Shui turned into a golden seed and fell to the ground, waiting to ambush. The 7 people's lips twitched. They found that Lu Mu Yen was growing more and more violent. Was this really good? However, they didn't think too much. Everyone released their spirit pets, and the lowest was middle phase tier 6. Many were also subdued and contracted with Lu Mu Yan's help. When Lu Mu Bei's mountain-moving beast came out of the spirit beast ring, he wanted to show off his might, but when his gaze accidentally landed on Lu Mu Yen, his might instantly withered a lot. Oh, late phase tier 7 already. Lu Mu Yen looked at the large and tall mountain-moving beast with a nitpicky gaze. The mountain-moving beast was a little apprehensive about this little abnormal monster, but he couldn't weaken the might and aura of a demonic beast. He toughened his head and glared at Lu Mu Yen, saying, "This is because my talent is extraordinary. Didn't this damned woman look down on him even back then? If it wasn't for my elder brother's light, do you think you could have advanced so quickly?" Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. That sky rank skill that Lu Mu Bai had couldn't only nourish the blood spirit to battle, but it could also improve the innate physique of spirit pets through their bloodline. This mountain-moving beast got a bargain. That's because my owner's amazing. The mountain-moving beast had now sincerely surrendered to Lu Mu Bai, so he revealed a proud look. Inwardly, he was also grateful to Lu Mu Yen. If it weren't for this woman, he wouldn't have met such a good owner either. Seeing that he was completely, willingly submissive now, Lu Mu Yen was quite satisfied. She took out a bottle of pills and threw it over. Hurry up and improve your strength, you better not humiliate my elder brother's reputation. Lu Mu Bai looked at her in amusement. The pampering in his eyes couldn't be concealed at all. In fact, the talent of the mountain-moving beast was really very good, especially his defensive ability that was rather powerful. The mountain-moving beast huffed, then took the bottles. But when he only just opened it, his eyes were practically glued to it. Then he immediately poured out one and gobbled it up excitedly. Good stuff. Do you have any more? Give me some more. The mountain-moving beast looked at Lu Mu Yen, asking with bright eyes. Even the other people's demonic beasts stared at the pill bottle on the big hands of the mountain-moving beast. Just by smelling that fragrance, they knew that the pill was beneficial to improving their cultivation base. Lu Mu Yen looked askance at him. You want pills? Well, talk about it when you perform well. The skin of this mountain-moving beast was indeed as thick as his stone skin skill. Miao Miao and Bing Ji were in a rare moment of unification, glaring fiercely at the mountain-moving beast. Those were the pills that owner had prepared for them. This ugly monster really had thick skin. The mountain-moving beast rolled his eyes and quickly put away the pill bottle. There were still 2 pills in it. He didn't miss the gazes that were staring at his pills like wolves and tigers. Listen carefully. If anyone can snatch a purple jade tablet from a human swordmaster in the array, for each one, I'll reward you with 1 such pill. The more you can snatch, the more pills. Don't miss out on such a chance. Lu Mu Yen swept over the more than a dozen demonic beasts present with her eyes and encouraged. When a high reward was offered, brave men would come forward one. It was also time for these demonic beasts to gain some experience. When the other demonic beasts saw the mountain-moving beast put away the pills, their eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. So when they heard Lu Mu Yen say this, they all stared fixedly at the sword masters that were about to break the array as if they were given a stimulant. Lu Mu Yan's lips rose in an arc. She sure was somewhat expectant to see these demonic beasts show their might. A Chinese idiom meaning precisely that. There will always be people willing to do difficult work if there is a reward. Chapter 267. Ganging up is just that powerful, boom. With the array-breaking talisman in the hands of the second prince luring 7-colored thunderclouds to constantly bombard the array, the grade 3 soul-disorienting array that Lu Mu Yen arranged was broken in a short while. However, the several people in the array were also a little rugged. They were not only affected by the lightning strike, but also because of Miao Miao's poisonous fog, their movements became groggy. As soon as the array was broken, the second prince came out first. He was not affected because he had a high-level array-breaking magic tool in hand, and he also had a treasure that could avoid poisoning on him. You're Lu Mu Yen? He saw the beautiful woman standing among the group of people and demonic beasts at a glance. She wore a light purple dress that wrapped her elegant body. Her facial features were exquisite, her skin seemingly so bouncy that it could pop, and although not deliberate nor conscious of it, but her body exuded an otherworldly temperament. No wonder even that rash fellow Luo Li would be so enchanted by Lu Mu Yen. Even when he saw her, he couldn't resist but want to take her into his imperial harem. Lu Mu Yen replied lightly, I'm Lu Mu Yen, what do you plan on doing? Why did these people always like to ask whether she was Lu Mu Yen or not every time? It really was annoying when they knew the answer. Hand over the jade tablets on you, and I won't trouble you, the second prince said as he patted his brocade robes. Lu Mu Yen chuckled and looked behind him, saying, just with how you guys are right now? The second prince turned his head and swept his gaze over the several people in his team, then said indifferently, "It's enough with only me." The opponent only had one sword sovereign cultivation base sword master, plus Lu Muyen who knew how to arrange arrays and a few sword emperors. Their overall strength was weak, and he didn't feel that he needed to be afraid of anyone. "I see." Lu Muyen dragged her words, then glanced at the demonic beasts behind her and said, "You all going up or not? Don't you want pills anymore?" Roar! The dozen or so demonic beasts who already couldn't wait any longer all rushed up, pouncing towards the second prince and the others. Yi Qinghan and the others weren't idle either. Although they didn't want the pills, but they didn't want to make any mistakes either. Since Lu Muyen asked them to gang up, then they'll gang up. The second prince obviously didn't expect her to make such a move. While taking out his magic tool to resist, he looked at Lu Muyen with a displeased expression and asked, "What do you mean by this? Do you have bad eyes? Naturally, we're ganging up." Lu Muyen's red lips parted lightly, leaving the second prince speechless. What way of fighting was this? With so many demonic beasts and sword masters coming together, did she still want any face? "You are all so despicable." Luo Qinghe's shirt was torn open by Yi Qinghan's qi and the 5 bloody claw marks were very deep. He shuddered in pain and glared at Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen had a ridicule on her lips. "There's no need to be righteous against a villain like you. Besides, we're ganging up. If you're not reconciled, then try it yourself." Piu! Luo Qinghe's eyes revealed ruthlessness, and just as he was about to attack Lu Muyen, he was slapped far away by the mountain-moving beast from behind, spitting blood. Seeing Luo Qinghe staring at him, unreconciled, the mountain-moving beast was furious. He walked over and it was another few more slaps, but this time, Luo Qinghe was prepared and barely avoided his attacks. On the entire battlefield, only Lu Muyen leaned against a large rock leisurely, watching over the fight between the two groups languidly. When Luo Li and the others arrived, what they saw was precisely such a scene, and they couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. This woman was changing up her tricks to play people again. But they didn't reveal themselves, and merely hid to watch the battle not far away, just in case they went out and scared the several people away. The second prince's combat power was indeed very strong, and Yi Qinghan, who had already advanced to sword sovereign cultivation base, wasn't his opponent. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks of course, Yi Qinghan was a spirit beast master, and his combat power had to be combined with his spirit pet to achieve the greatest effect. However, Qi was only at peak phase tier 6, and was still not enough to fight against the second prince. Lu Muyen took out a few rounded jade stones and tossed them in the direction of the battle casually as she formed seals with her hands. Not long after, she snapped her fingers and a cluster of flames leapt out from her fingertip. As soon as the cluster of flames fell into the battle area, it instantly activated the fire elemental array within the jade stones. Several walls of fire erupted from the ground, instantly separating the people who were ganging up on them on the battlefield. Although Yi Qinghan was at a disadvantage facing the second prince, but he wasn't seriously injured, nor was he defeated. There was a hint of admiration in Lu Muyen's eyes. She pinched a few Taoist seals, and numerous fire lotuses floated out from the fire wall, blocking in front of Yi Qinghan. A violent sword aura swung over by the second prince was blocked by the shield wall composed of fire lotuses, and Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to launch an offensive. Lu Muyen directed the fire lotuses within the array that came and went leisurely to cooperate with Yi Qinghan's attack. Gradually, the fight became evenly matched against the second prince. The others, however, were pretty worse off. Because they had been poisoned by Miao Miao's poisonous gas, even if the effect didn't last long, but it was enough for the group of demonic beasts, who had gone crazy for pills, to gang up and finish them off. Not long after, they screamed pitifully and fell to the ground in extremely embarrassing states, and their purple identity jade tablets were snatched away one by one. Among them, Luo Qinghe had it the most miserable. He was beaten to the ground by the mountain-moving beast, laying there and spitting blood, but the sinisterness in his eyes wasn't concealed too much because of his pain. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed a chill and she telepathically transmitted to Shui, "Drain the blood essence of that man." "Yes, owner." Shui had long been unable to wait. When he heard the order, he immediately stretched his vines out surreptitiously under Luo Qinghe, and when no one was paying attention, he stuck his vines into his body and began to suck. Not long after, Luo Qinghe's eyes went black, and he died quietly with an expression of disbelief and inexplicableness. Even at his deathbed, he didn't know what was sucking his blood essence. After the others and the demonic beasts successfully snatched the jade tablets, they all flocked to surround the second prince together, and regardless of anything, all took action. The second prince was attacked by enemies on both sides, so even if his combat power was amazing, he couldn't stand the ganging up of so many high-level sword masters and demonic beasts. After a while, he accidentally injured himself. With the first injury, more injuries came constantly. Then his back was hurt by a sword aura, and he said to Lu Muyan angrily, "Stop fighting. Hurry up and tell your people to stop." He sure could see now. Lu Muyan was the head of this group of people and demonic beasts. This sure was the first time he had ever been so embarrassed before. Luo Li pursed his lips not far away. Who does he think he is to ask for people to stop and they'll stop? Lu Muyan will ignore him. Xinan held his golden foil folding fan and fanned himself in a frivolous manner. Although he couldn't see through Lu Muyan, but after being in contact with her for so long, he still knew a little bit about her. If she could be threatened like this, then she wouldn't be that arrogant and unrestrained woman. As Xinan expected, Lu Muyan glanced at the second prince and sneered, "I have the final say on the rules right now. What right does the defeated have to call for this to stop? If you have the guts, then fight me one-on-one." The second prince was barely able to avoid the sword auras and claws that kept attacking with a trace of exhaustion and anger. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow in disapproval. "Why should I foolishly waste time fighting one-on-one with you for something that can be resolved quickly by ganging up? Do you think I'm as stupid as you?" The second prince had a mouthful of old blood stuck in his chest, all because Lu Muyan angered him. Watching the second prince be humiliated, Luo Li's handsome face was filled with smiles. "Lu Muyan, do you know who I am?" The second prince was slapped by the mountain-moving beast after being too slow to evade, and it instantly swelled up as he roared angrily. "You are the second prince of Rongza Kingdom." Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow. "Have you been beaten, stupid? You're even asking such questions." The second prince was slashed by a sword aura on his chest, then he glared at her and said, "You know, and you still dare treat me like this? You want to snatch my jade tablets to kick me out of the competition space, but I have to take care of your emotions? Who do you think you are?" Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him. Then she huffed coldly, "And I heard that you often bullied Luo Li back in Rongza Kingdom? He's a person I'm covering for. If you mess with him, you mess with me. What's so good about Luo Li that makes it worthy for you to help him get revenge on me?" The second prince only now realized that him being ganged up on was partly also because Lu Muyan wanted to help Luo Li vent his anger. "I already said that I'm covering him, so in the future when you want to bully others, you better grow some eyes. Ipe. Luo Li is just a little pretty face." The second prince really couldn't understand why so many women liked Luo Li, that kind of red-haired wild boy. Seeing his unrestrained expression, Lu Muyan said to the more than a dozen demonic beasts, "Keep beating him up for me, just don't kill him." Roar, roar. Luo Li felt warm inside, but when he heard the second prince say he was a little pretty face, his expression darkened and turned his head, saying to Xinan, "Aren't you and Helian Lai little pretty faces?" Xinan sneered, "Don't worry, you can't be a little pretty face the way you are. The second prince is blind." He had to admit that Luo Li having Lu Muyan's protection made him feel a sour taste. "Tisk, you're just jealous of this young master." Luo Li didn't miss the envy in Sinan's eyes. Sinan didn't bother paying attention to him and continued to watch the gang fight on the other side. Piu! The elemental energy in the second prince was depleted very badly. He took out a pill and prepared to take one. Yet who knew that he had yet to put it in his mouth when it was snatched away by a huge stone hand together with the bottle, and some random demonic beast even whipped its tail on his back. The mountain-moving beast had stayed in the competition space the entire time, and although he could be considered a king of a small portion of an area, but he had never eaten any pills. Ever since he tasted the sweetness of Lu Muyan's pill just now, he became extremely excited when he saw pills. He tossed the second prince's pill that replenished elemental energy into his mouth, then said openly with dissatisfaction after finishing, "This doesn't even taste that good." This human swordmaster's pill really was so much more inferior to that violent woman's. It only replenished a little bit of demonic energy. How boring. Pew! The second prince couldn't resist spitting out a mouthful of blood. This time, it was completely from being angered. Seeing all the demonic beasts so excited as if they had been given a stimulant, Yiqing Han and the others withdrew from the battle and watched the fight on the side. With a group of demonic beasts led by the mountain-moving beast, a late-phase Tier 7 demonic beast, it wasn't difficult to win the second prince that was already losing. Sure enough, the second prince, who was robbed of his pill, exhausted his elemental energy and was beaten by more than a dozen demonic beasts in turn. Luo Li's eyes brightened in the distance. Lu Muyan really is good. That bastard second prince also has such a day. How relieving. Si Nan's eyelids twitched. She's getting more and more violent. Lu Muyan instigating the group of demonic beasts to gang up the second prince made him feel pain all over his body when watching. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Luo Li glanced at him. What do you know? This is precisely her charm. Si Nan rolled his eyes speechlessly, but he agreed inwardly. No matter how rough and violent that woman Lu Muyan was, she was still so elegant and attractive. Yan Jun and Mo Ling had long since arrived to hide on the hillside opposite Luo Li and the others. Seeing the second prince swollen and bruised, their scalps were numb. This woman really shouldn't be messed with. Yan Jun said in amusement. Luckily he didn't mess with her. Mo Ling's arrogant and solitary aura carried a slight distance from others. Her points have already advanced to the top 100. Lu Muyan's points in the previous 3 months hadn't changed at all, but because of the Jade Tablet rewards for the preliminary round, her points remained in the top 500. Recently, many elite teams from large kingdoms had come here to find Lu Muyan and the others to snatch Jade Tablets, but were all counter-robbed. The purple Jade Tablets had the highest points, so Lu Muyan's points had skyrocketed again. Her goal is the top 10. Yan Jun's eyes were dark, and he asked Mo Ling, who wasn't far away, "What's the background of that person named Chu Han?" He's already reached the 20th place and his points also only started moving in the last half a month. Not sure. He and Lu Muyan are both the dark horses this time, and I'm afraid they're our opponents for the top 3. Currently, Mo Ling had completely placed the one of them on an equal footing with himself. Yan Jun raised an eyebrow. Their strength is really good, but the skyrocketing points like Lu Muyan's is just a coincidence. The top 10 finals must be won through one's combat strength. Aren't you a little too worried? Aren't you thinking the same? Mo Ling glanced at him calmly. Hypocrite. Mo Ling, I really can't hear anything good from your mouth. Yan Jun huffed. Aside from them, Ji Xian's men were also watching the battle not far away. Fourth prince is truly wise. This Lu Muyan really isn't as simple as she seems. One of them said. Seeing the second prince beaten so badly by being ganged up on, their eyelids were twitching. I've got to say, her method of snatching jade tablets is very crude and effective. Ji Xian's eyes were filled with admiration. He knew that Lu Muyan was hiding very deeply, and she was probably not even revealing all her strength and trump cards. The corners of his lips rose. He really looked forward to meeting in the finals. Lu Muyan, just what do you want? The second prince's aura was a little weak right now. Those demonic beasts didn't use all their demonic energy under Lu Muyan's orders, but without elemental energy shields, he was beaten until he was in terrible pain all over. Lu Muyan blinked and smiled. Second prince, I wonder whether you still want to stay in this competition space? Of course I want to. Just say what you want directly. First tell them to stop. The second prince wasn't stupid either. Lu Mu Yen let these demonic beasts attack him, but they didn't hurt his vital points nor snatch his jade tablets, which meant she must have a purpose. Lu Mu Yen clapped her hands and told the group of unsatisfied demonic beasts, "Stop." The mountain-moving beast kicked the second prince's leg once heavily before he left, muttering, "We haven't even fought heartily yet." Lu Mu Yen looked at the sky speechlessly. Was it really all right for her to give such a violent demonic beast to her elder brother? The second prince cried out in pain. His leg was definitely broken by this damned demonic beast. "We snatched so many jade tablets, take out your pills." The mountain-moving beast didn't care whether the second prince lived or died, and he approached Lu Mu Yen to ask for pills. The other demonic beasts also scurried over and stared at Lu Mu Yen with scorching eyes. Even Yi Qing Han's golden eagle king, Qi, was no exception. When the mountain-moving beast took the pill, he smelled the pill and knew that this was the opportunity he could take to break through to Tier 7. Although it was a bit embarrassing to gang up on a human swordmaster with the rest, but he'd go all out for the pills. Lu Mu Yen took out a few bottles of pills and stuffed them to Lu Mu Bai behind her. "Big brother, cash in these pills according to the number of jade tablets they snatched." "All right." Lu Mu Bai took the pills and said with a smile. Lu Mu Yen was too lazy to pay attention to the group of demonic beasts that were like wolves and tigers, and walked straight to the second prince. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.